Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next game in the Birthday Bash charity stream. We're going to be running a game called Fiasco on Wheels, the Forbidden Road Trip, using a game called Fiasco, which I'm not going to talk about because I don't know much about it, but I'll hand it over in just a second. If this is your first game here, we are raising money for JDRF International, a leading organization in funding research for curing type 1 diabetes. If you want to help us reach our goal, you can put !donate in the chat, and there's our lovely Tiltify link. Other than that, we have a giveaway at $1,200 which we're $95 away from, heck yeah, for 5 custom emotes by @Gona_Hawking. Her art is amazing and it's cute, and she may or may not have made some really cool Mothman. And you know, the little wormies, the little furry wormies, she's also made those emotes and she's really good. And 5 of them could be yours. That's all I got. I'm going to hand everything over to Forta and the rest of the players so they can introduce themselves and they can get the game going. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
Right. Hi, I'm Forta. I also go by Lex. So I'm going to be facilitating this game of Fiasco, which is this lovely game right here. It's a game about grand ambitions and terrible impulse control and people making choices that they probably shouldn't. It's misadventures and mayhem, and it's going to be a grand time. I can just feel it. Instead of making characters, we make relationships and build our characters off of that. So that should be an interesting thing to delve into once we get started. So I'm going to pass it off to the next person in line. I think we'll go to Mango. If you'd introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mango at Slursus there, he, him. I'm going to be playing Bob today, but I don't know much about Bob yet, except for that he may be a dad and or uncle. But I'm looking forward to seeing how this game runs. I'll pass it off to Sprinkle.
Yeah, I'm Sprinkle or Crystal. I'll be playing Cybil. You can find me at Sprinkle Theory on Twitter. I'm really excited for this game. See what happens, because who knows?
Okay, so last one's me. I'm Evie Story. I will be playing Chloe, and yeah, we're gonna see who we all are as we kind of go along. So that'll be fun to find out.
Yep. And unless anyone has anything else they want to put out there, I think we should probably just delve right into it. So to start with this game, we start with the setup. And the setup is as follows. We roll a bunch of dice into a central pool. We then use said dice to go around and determine what our characters are like. So typically with this game, you start with choosing a playset, but we decided that off screen. So our playset is this road trip. This road trip that is going to be absolutely disastrous. So, all right then, I'm gonna roll us some dice in the digital dice roller, and we'll see what we have to play with here. It's a game that uses D6. So all of the dice we roll are going to be D6s. That is a lot of dice. And you split them in half. It's 4 dice per person, 2 white, 2 black, or whatever colors you want to divvy it up into. And that'll determine later in the game how the outcome of scenes and how the outcome of the entire game goes for each of our characters. But for now, in the setup, it's what helps us determine what choices are available to us as we build. Each of us will end up with a relationship between us adjacent people, so 4 in total. And each of those relationships will have a detail attached. We're going to find out exactly what that means here shortly. To kick things off, since I'm facilitating, I'll make an example. Let's see. I'm going to look at our relationships handout, which has our list of everything available to us. And I think since, it's a road trip, we should probably have at least one travel dynamic. And I'm going to go with, we got a 3 in here. Why not? Or sorry, since I'm going with the travel category, that is a 2, I'm going to use one of our 2s, which I will mark up here with text 2. And that will be between, you know what? Let's go with between Gerry and Cybil. Let's go with that. So our relationship is defined by travel. So maybe that means that for this trip is where we first met, or maybe that just means in general, this is a role we've picked up for this trip, but travel to start with.
Okay.
Normally, we would determine who goes first by who is from the smallest town, but I feel that that probably would not help us in terms of getting going. So we'll go counterclockwise. So next is the person playing Cybil, which I think is Sprinkle.
Yes.
Yeah. So you would next pick another dice, and from one of the relationship list, the what's the word? The headings to start with, so we can get a general gist for the relationship between people.
Yeah. Let's choose the one of the 3s. And so friendship.
Okay. And who are you putting that friendship between?
Let's go with Chloe and Bob.
Okay. All right, so next it'll be Chloe, who is played by Evie.
So is there a place for this list? Because I don't see what you guys are seeing.
Oh dear. 1 second. Let me add you to the handouts. I'm sorry about that. Let me double tap on every one of them just to make sure that nobody is left out of any of them. Can you see it now?
Are they in this little box down here? I see road trip and needs, locations, and objects.
Yep. So
Yeah,
very top
it
road trip and relationships.
Should be under setup in the handout section.
Okay. All right. And we're doing relationships. Okay.
Yes.
Got
And
it.
before we go further, can you see the needs, locations, and objects below that? Or
Yes.
okay, excellent. Excellent.
All right. Well, let's see. There's quite a few different 2s on here, so maybe I'll just eat up a 2 and put another travel relationship up there.
Excellent. Who are you putting it between?
Let's do Chloe and Cybil.
Okay. Yeah. There we go. And last, Mango and Bob.
I'm thinking I'm going to use our 1 and choose family.
All right. Family. And that leaves family for you and me, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Welcome to the family.
welcome to the family. So next we go around, and we don't have to necessarily do this in this order. Once we get, once you get used to how it, goes, you can choose to add details to relationships that exist before breaking down who's got what. But yeah, just keeping things simple on our end. Let's see, we've used up 2 2s, a 3, and a 1, or only 1. Let's see, I'm going to use one of the 6s. And so we've got family, friendship, and travel. You know what? If it's all right with you, I'm gonna take one of those 6s and I'm gonna pull it from family, and I'm gonna stick us as distant, unusual, or unofficial relatives. So you might be my uncle, but
Yeah.
not necessarily by blood.
I'm Uncle Bob, but like in the way that like your third cousin's dad's brother is your Uncle Bob.
Yes.
Like we met at a family gathering, and it might not have been either of our families, but yeah.
Nice.
All right. So next is Sprinkle.
So I will take a 6. And say that or actually take a 5 and say that we maybe me and Chloe are travel critics.
Okay.
Is that how?
So the way I had originally envisioned that is one of you would be a B&B owner or travel critic, and the other would be the other of that. But if you both want to be travel critics, that also works.
What do you think, Evie?
I think it would be kind of fun if we were like travel critics, maybe of like a rival set of like travel reporting, but we're friends on the back end of it.
Yes. I like
one of you has
like
got
it.
like a blog or something that's just kind of like your own little blog where you do reviews. The other one's like, oh yeah, I write for this article, and you're like butting heads all the time.
New York Times or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I like it.
So I'm putting down travel critics, rival blogs, or rival.
Yeah, we're just rivals, I think. Yeah.
Blogs.
Just
Yeah.
travel critic rivals in general.
Yeah.
Travel critics, rivals. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Oh dear. Come back. There we go. All right, so that leaves Evie up next.
All right, let's see. So Chloe has a friendship with Bob that needs to find, and Gerry has a travel relationship with Cybil that needs to find.
Yes.
Well, we just did the travel relationship, so I'm going to check this friendship. And let's see. I think I'm going to take this 4, and I'm going to do poet and muse.
Okay.
And I think it would be kind of funny if I were the poet and you were the muse, and I write my travel blog as poetry.
Okay. So poet and muse. and Muse. Okay. Poet and
Oh, wait,
Muse.
no, that's between Bob and
Ah.
Chloe.
Right.
Yeah.
There we go.
So,
Wrong card.
yeah,
It's fine.
the travel perspective from like the perspective of like a stereotypical uncle. Like, what does the uncle think of this? And that leaves travel between Gerry and Cybil. Let's see.
Wrong one.
So you're already established as a travel critic. So I'm thinking I like the idea of using one of our threes for backseat driver or heckler.
Okay.
So
Works for me.
one of you is more familiar with like, you know, being on the roads or traveling and all that, and the other one's just trying to drive. So maybe Gerry is like just trying to like get to where we're trying to go, and then Cybil's like, oh no, you should take it left. There's a shortcut there. I've been in this area before. No, it's fine.
Yes.
I like that. All right. So that's our relationships thus far. Next, we get to add details, and beyond just details of relationships, things like needs, locations, and objects. We should end up with at least one of each. However, not everyone needs to have one of each, if that makes sense. So, you know what? Every road trip needs transportation. Oh, wait. I can't take that. It's a given. We have transportation. We're on this trip.
Yeah.
No.
Theoretically.
This is a road trip via foot.
We're just walking from point A to point B.
We're four people hitchhiking. Like, you can pick up all of us.
Now that's a thought. You know what? Let's go with.
Well, wait, transportation's a number one. We have a number one.
We've used the one.
I stole
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I haven't written it down yet. I'm sorry. But we did use the one on the family option. Let's go with needs, and I'm gonna grab to get the truth. No, that's a number one too. I lied. These look so good, but they don't. Sometimes that's just how the dice roll.
Let's pretend one of those sixes is a one. We don't need to worry about it, right?
I'm gonna choose one of the fives then. One of the fives. And it's gonna be to get away. So I'm gonna grab one of those. Oh. Okay. I get it. Where did that go? Goodness, what? Okay, it's fine. We're gonna do this the old-fashioned way and just pull it out from the
Maybe
art
Excel
assets.
sheet. An Excel sheet to try and like keep track of everything.
Yeah. Travel, backseat drivers, and the need I've got is to get away. All right. Next up is Sprinkle again.
So we're still in needs, or we're going to.
You can choose from needs, locations, or objects. Just let me know which one you're going with.
Okay. Let's do 3 objects, valuables.
Ooh.
I really like the number 2 option for valuables. I think that's a Incredible thing to
wow.
be like.
A
To take on a road
requirement.
trip.
Just just stuff you take places.
Yeah.
Just,
Like,
just
I don't
just
go.
a thing you do.
I don't go anywhere without my signed poster of Danny DeVito in the back seat. I mean,
I forgot I put that on there.
We could have Danny DeVito in the back seat, and when the backseat driver's being a heckler and they get like rebuffed, they're like, "No, but Danny DeVito said."
yeah.
No, but
Oh,
Danny
sorry.
DeVito's-
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And where are we putting that valuables?
Oh.
Because we can put it anywhere.
So it's a valuable that belongs to a certain specific person. That's the
It
idea?
belongs to a relationship. So
Oh.
it can be one-sided where somebody has it and another person wants it, but it's attached to the relationship, not a specific character. Oh, I didn't assign the to get away. I'm assigning that to the travel backseat drivers hecklers relationship. Yeah.
I think the valuables, what about that being to the unofficial relatives, maybe? It's a
Okay.
family heirloom or something.
I just watched, she's gonna pick Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? I'm here for it though.
Something we hid.
Okay.
Mayor says, "Why stop at a poster? It's a cardboard cutout." Like, that's how we get through the carpool lanes. Whenever they're like, "Oh, sorry, you need an extra person in your car to get to the carpool lane," we're like, "We got our extra right here."
Right.
My goodness, that's both amazing and horrifying. Just casually have that.
Okay.
All right.
My turn.
Yep.
All right. I'm gonna take another 3. I think we still have some left, right?
Yeah, we had,
Is this the last 3?
I think it's the last 3.
All right. I want to take a 3 on location, and I want to do tourist traps.
Ooh.
And I want
Okay.
that to be on the travel critics.
Yep.
Excellent.
And
That
I'm
makes
hoping,
sense.
I'm not sure, but I'm hoping we might be able to get it that each of them wants a different tourist trap. I don't know how we might be able to make that happen, but
But I want to see the world's largest rubber band ball. No, we're gonna go see the world's largest shoe first.
Okay. So that tourist trap is traps. Okay. And the last one. I say the last one.
So the last one's between Chloe and Bob. I'm thinking something sentimental. To use up one of our 2s, because we've got
Okay.
a few 2s left over.
And that'll be an object, right?
yes.
Excellent.
Because we're longtime friends, probably.
Unless you're a muse I just met.
Yeah.
Possible, I guess.
We were at some dive diner somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, like on the travel road, and it was like you just saw me eating the world's greasiest burger. You're like, what is this creature? I must study him.
Now I'm just thinking about Bob from Bob's Burgers. My goodness.
Yes.
That's basically the generic uncle dad figure that I'm thinking of. Is that
Oh
same
my
like style of
goodness.
character. It's just like, yep, he's a dad, he's an uncle, he's something.
Okay. All right. Have we gone around this circle once? Has everyone had a chance to? Okay. All right. Hey, wait. What did you grab, Mango?
I took a 2 for sentimental.
Yes, that's what you just did. I'm
Yeah. No problem.
all over the place. So it's back around to me, and let's see, we've used 2 of our 2s at least. Third 2. I think that might have been our 4th.
All right,
2,
I just
actually.
went through and did it. So we still
Okay.
have 4 6s left, 2
Excellent.
2s left, and a 5.
Right.
3 2s left, sorry, and a 5.
Alrighty. You know what? Going with tourist traps. Let's go in that direction over to locations. I'm gonna see what. Okay. So, and feel free to push back on this entirely. I'm considering using that 5 for, or sorry, not that 5, using a 4 for a literal tourist trap, the murderous kind. Do we have a 4 left?
I don't think so.
Nope, there was just the 1 4.
No,
Yep.
then we are safe. No murderous tourist traps. No,
Yep.
instead, y'all are getting the Grand Canyon,
Nice.
because that's definitely a tourist trap.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
beautiful, but also
It's a crack in the ground that's very big.
all right.
No, Mayor, not unfortunate. It is fortunate that we are not going to an actual literal tourist trap.
All right, so that was a 2. All right, your turn, Sprinkle.
We have to get the signed Daniel Vito, the veto poster. We have to.
Yep.
We were using a 2.
Very good.
Very good.
Poster. I might have regrets, but at the same time, I do not.
No regrets.
None. All right. So we have just used up one of those 2s. So that leaves 4 6s, a 2, and a 5.
Wait, the signed Danny DeVito poster is a valuable, but it's on the sentimental.
I put it in the wrong spot.
Okay, I was just checking.
Thank you for spotting that.
Okay. So I think, let's see, we have a need in
We
here.
do. We have the need to get away.
And we can get away from a couple things. I think that it might be fun. It would be our last number 2,
Okay.
but Gerry and Bob are family. So if I put the need between, I guess, Gerry and Cybil of getting away from family, it could maybe be something that they're both bonding over, and one is like occurring inside the car. And the other one is just like, oh yeah, this is me doing that by being in the car or something.
Or maybe why I'm a
Um,
travel critic, because get away from
Yeah.
your relatives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Like
all right.
that
So that's
idea.
the last 2. And we're gonna do get away from a family,
Nagging family.
nagging family, which now means, I guess, that Bob is a nagging uncle.
Yeah.
Not
I was-
necessarily, but
I could
get
have invited myself onto the road trip. Like, oh, you're going traveling? Oh yeah, I'll join you. It's great. I'll bring my
Yeah.
favorite mixtape,
That's
I'm
awesome.
really
The secondhand embarrassment is rising.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, oh no, mixtape. It'd be an actual tape, like a cassette tape.
Cassette play.
Yeah. Like I've got
We had to
like
go buy an
adapter.
adapter in
Yeah.
order to play cassette tapes.
So he has to bring like
Yeah.
a boom box or cassette player to put in the dash. Like,
It-
this is fine. All right. That
Alright.
leaves you, Mango.
I think it's perfect that I put for our sentimental object my favorite travel mug, or your favorite travel mug, or just a favorite travel mug.
Yes.
Favorite travel mug. Now, here's the question. I suppose we'll flesh this out and play, but is this travel mug shared, or is it a point of contention? Shared in the sense of like, oh, it's my favorite, but it's also your favorite, so wash it and like all that. But or is it a no, it's my mug? No, it's my mug.
No.
it's
No.
my mug.
I know how it is. It's my favorite travel mug for them to use.
It's entirely too big. It's like very like gaudy. It's from some like weird little like small town, specialty like restaurant or something. It's got like a weird looking like possum head on it or something that I have to drink out of.
And I'm like, drink from this. It helps me be inspired.
Watching me kind of just like
Yes.
this possum face.
I'm making note of that. Possum face. Okay. So yeah, we have gone around. We have filled out our problems, our various problems. Okay. All right. So that is that for the setup, more or less. Everyone's got a relationship details. Let's see.
We still have 4 dice that haven't been used yet. Are they just supposed to sit there?
We do. I'm double checking that, but as far as I'm aware, they just sit there.
Might have missed some at some point, maybe.
Maybe. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we've used them all up.
Yeah.
We did not keep very good count, or rather, I did not keep very good count. I'm sorry. It's fine. We filled this out. Everything's good. All the dice go back
halfway
into central pile
through
anyway.
decided to make a markup of them,
Yeah.
and I guess I did not do it fast enough to call all of them.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
at one point, I was looking through my list. I was like, "Do we only have 6s and 2s left?" And then you said, "Oh, we've got a 5 and a 3." I'm like, "I'll just trust the 5 and a 3, and that way we have more options for the rest of it."
All right. Okay. So yeah, that's everything, and all the dice are in a central pile. And well, that means that we now have scenes to get into. Act 1. So let me establish the rules for scenes before we jump into Act 1, because I think Sprinkle, this is your first time playing?
Yes.
And Mango as well? Okay. So scenes work like this. When it's your scene, you either choose to establish or resolve. If you establish, you set up the scene, and you get to be the director. You get to decide who's present, if any objects or locations factor into it, if it addresses a need, stuff like that, when, where, all that jazz. Whether or not it's a flashback, or if it's, it can even be a scene that's a monologue. It doesn't have to be, going straight for everybody's throats all the time. But you establish, you create the scene, whoever's in it plays it out, and the people not in it get to decide, the people who have not chosen to establish get to decide whether it's a good outcome or a bad outcome for the scene. Usually we'll get an idea for how that, will feel once we, once the scene gets going and we're like, okay, yeah, I like how this is going, or, oh, but it'd be interesting if. So there's that. If you're resolving, you're asking us to create a scene for you. And let me double check how that works. Yep. So that means you don't get to make the scene, but you get to decide whether you are the one who decides whether it goes well or poorly for your character. So since it's Act 1, no matter what, you are giving a dice away. However, it is, your decision at that point, whether it's good or bad. Established, resolved. Dice get given out. And yeah, so this is a very improv heavy and story driven game. So that there's not like strong mechanics of, oh, it's going this way, you have to, resolve like this, or you have to do, X, Y, or Z thing. It's very, played by ear, fast and loose. We went around once. You know what? I'm feeling very, what's the word? Adventurous. I'm feeling adventurous, so I'd like to resolve a scene. So I'm going to let you guys decide how this scene is set up.
Now, is this for a relationship specifically for your character, or is it like just any scene among the groups?
So it'll be specific for my character. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a specific relationship in play. You can choose whatever objects, needs, relationships that we have on the table to bring into play.
Okay. So if it's Gerry,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like it would be a fun scene to see what happens when we are packing up for the night and the signed poster of Danny DeVito can't be found.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
I don't know. It just feels like it might be a fun drama moment.
Like that. Yeah.
I do like that.
Are we all there, or because like are we kind of mid trip and like packing up to maybe continue on to?
That was maybe. I mean,
yeah,
early mid trip maybe or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I
like
feel
one
like-
night, like we're getting out of a hotel and getting ready to hit the road, and it's like, where's Danny?
Mhm.
Can I see? Now, does everybody know that you've got the Danny DeVito poster, or is it like,
I feel like
I keep it in my pack?
I almost feel like that Danny DeVito poster is like one of those like secrets to everybody where it's like, you're on this trip with us, we must initiate you. So everyone in the car knows about Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
At the same time, now here's a thought. I almost feel like Gerry's the sort of person that like this Danny DeVito thing, it's like a family valuable, but I almost feel like Gerry's probably been trying to get rid of it for a while now. And so to discover that it is missing, Gerry's just like, okay, just kind of quietly packing up, continuing on, just it's forgotten. It's just I didn't think about it. Everything was getting packed up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so here's my question. Gerry and Bob have recently found out that they are long distantly connected family. So Bob would have a stake in this particular heirloom. And to give it extra stakes, I'm wondering if Danny DeVito is like some cousin of some sort
he's also
and has given this to family members
Hi,
as
Robert
like
Robert DeVito. Nice to meet you. You can call me Bob.
yeah.
Yes.
Ooh,
So like
or
maybe Bob hasn't gotten one of these posters yet or something, so there might be some
Or-
stakes involved there.
what if it was a gift from Bob to Jerry? Like, oh, I got you this signed
That's
poster
where-
of Danny
Yes,
DeVito.
that.
No, I like
And then
that.
you're
That's
like,
better.
I don't
Idea,
even
I like
like
that
Danny
a lot.
DeVito that much. You try to get rid of it, like, yeah, oh, I don't know
Okay.
where the poster ended up. It's so I'm like, I got that signed from our uncle. Well, my uncle, your third uncle.
Twice removed.
Twice removed.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so we're just about ready to pack up, is what I get the vibe of. And so it's like,
Mhm.
cars getting closed up. It's like, okay. And it's like Jerry's sitting there, about to hop in the passenger seat, and it's like, oh, maybe there's this like, I don't know, maybe there's this kind of like pre-driving ritual where like everyone makes sure that they've all got their valuables, all their,
Mhm.
phone, wallet, keys, the important stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, Danny DeVito.
Of course.
Of course.
And so Jerry's like, yeah, okay, yeah, and going through the stuff, and goes, yeah, okay, I think I got everything. And maybe it's that Bob realizes that, hey,
Yeah, I feel like Bob would that would be part of Bob's checklist with Jerry to make
Yeah.
sure that the poster is there.
because Jerry's just
That
so
nagging family.
yes,
Yeah, yep,
Yes.
exactly.
just
Yes.
so forgetful. She's
Yeah.
forgetful. You got to make sure she's got the poster, or she'll lose it.
This is like the
Sure.
third time it's happened where you tried to like leave it under the hotel bed or something. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Or it slipped
Yeah.
behind the dresser in the room.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh,
Getting more and more creative with where the places are, where it's being hidden. Like, how did it end up in the curtains over here? Oh, slippery Danny, you know how he is.
thanks, Uncle Bob. I don't know what I'd do if I would lose my own head if it wasn't attached to my shoulders. Oh. So that's sounding like a black outcome as far as for Jerry, because Jerry wants to lose the poster,
Yeah.
but like, nope, we have the poster.
Yeah.
So, yep, let me clean up the actual what's in there and make a note that there is a black die. Oh, Oh, no. I'm sorry, Mayor. What? You have to share that in the actual chat.
I will share to the actual chat, but I found the possum mug for everybody.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, no.
We need that.
I
Oh
need
my
to see
gosh.
this book.
Oh, it's so cute.
Oh, dear.
Aw. What I'm imagining is way worse than that.
Yeah, you had said something about like
Perfect.
teapot style drinking from the
Yeah.
mouth of the possum or something.
Yes.
That is perfect. Oh man.
All right.
Some place called like Trashy Dan's or something like that. Like,
Trashy Dan's Possum Hut.
yeah.
No. Okay, so yep, that was a very short scene, but that's okay. We have established that Danny DeVito must go.
We got a little bit of understanding of the nagging family situation happening.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I love this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so up next is Sprinkle. And would you like to establish or resolve?
Wait. Sorry. Before we move on, what was the die situation? How did that resolve? And like, how'd
Okay.
that work out?
Since I chose to resolve,
Mhm.
I got to decide whether it was a white dice or black dice as the outcome. I went
Okay.
with black dice because black is an unpleasant outcome. White is a preferred outcome.
Okay.
I went black dice because I want to lose the poster and Uncle Bob has not allowed me to lose the poster.
Yep.
So
And who
one
gets
black
that die?
dice for me.
It goes to.
Oh, right.
It goes
No,
to Gerry.
I gotta give it away. Right. It's Act 1. So in that case, I'm gonna go white die and give it to Bob because Uncle Bob has succeeded in keeping that poster.
You gotta keep it in the family, you know.
Gotta keep it that
It's
signed
an heirloom.
DeVito heirloom. My goodness.
And so do I have to be a part of the I do have to be a part of the scene, right?
You know, I don't know if you have to be a part of that scene.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I was choosing a relationship, but yeah, so I think that and kind of going a little chronologically, so it is the next day or so and we're traveling and we see I'm setting the scene. And we see some signs to some fun stops along the way. So we see a world's brightest lamp, and we see the world's largest bubble. And so Cybil and Chloe are trying to convince everyone where to go and what is the better location to go and to stop at.
Okay, I like that. First, do Cybil and Chloe agree on which one is the better one that they want everyone else to do? Okay.
No, there's no agreement.
Because I feel like Chloe's like, which one would be better to make a poem about?
Right.
A lot of symbolism in like a really bright light. Like it's too bright, you know, like, oh, light's good, but you know, maybe it's not good if it's too bright. Like,
yeah, but a lot of poems have light in them and stuff, so maybe it'd be more compelling to do something about a bubble.
Okay, yeah, you kind of got that internal struggle of like, which one do I want?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
maybe Sybil's just like, oh, obviously I want to go see the lamp. I mean, come on.
What does Cybil want to go see?
Yeah, what does Cybil want to go see?
So yeah, I think Cybil would want to go to the bubble, honestly. Yeah, Cybil would want to go to the bubble, and you know, it's large and in charge and it's beautiful, and it's just in general just the tourist location to take pictures. You know, you can't take pictures really by a bright light because it's super bright. It's like taking pictures on the sun.
I like it. So yeah, I think Chloe's just very indecisively stuck. How does the rest of our group feel about Chloe just sort of explain, well, we could go to this, we could go to that, and she like does not explain one way or the other, but then maybe Cybil's like, bubble, of course.
Cybil is very into going to the bubble. And they have like, because think of the things that you can get from the gift shop, right? So like bubbles, there's like bubble gum, there's a lot of round orby things at the bubble place. Where at the you get some lampshades and you get some like bulbs, but that's what you get from the largest lamp, like the brightest lamp. Yeah. So you know, I mean, and we're going to the Grand Canyon, and so we're gonna be outside anyway, and the sun is there, so it just makes more sense for us to go to the bubble.
Bob likes the idea of going to the world's largest bubble because then he gets to do those pictures where he's like holding up the bubble. Yeah. Or like, I'm stuck in the bubble, like standing behind it, that kind of thing. He's super excited to like, oh yeah, I want to see the bubble.
Yes.
I can turn the brightness of my lamp, no problem. You know, I got a transformer. I'm imagining all of the horrible engineering things you could do to make an extremely bright light bulb, and none of them are good.
All of them are safety hazards.
Yeah, exactly.
All of them.
When you play with electricity, don't play with electricity, kids.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see how a poet can, talk about the light, and I feel like poets from way back when had looked at the sun because there wasn't a lot of other things for them to look at, and they would all of the things. So I think it makes sense for Chloe to want to go see the bright light.
Oh,
Well, I think that actually does convince Chloe that a bubble would probably be better because there's more gift options to help be creative with. And then
Yeah.
getting to have Bob like pose with the bubble in a couple of different ways will help like create some good visuals for a poem to write about in the blog. So I think Chloe gets kind of convinced and excited to try out this bubble instead.
Awesome.
I also feel like there's probably like questionably legal ways to get on top of the bubble to make it look like you're lifted off by the bubble.
Of course.
So, you know, naturally that means we have to at least try to do that.
In true uncle fashion, I see the sign that says "Do not climb on bubble," and I'm like, "That's for everybody else. That's not for me."
Yes.
Start climbing.
Like my uncle who decided, we're at the Painted Rocks in Michigan. Let's just climb down the cliff. Just casual.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Uncles see a sign and says, "Oh, this sign doesn't affect me. I can't read."
Yes.
No.
Go there. Go to the gift shop. Get like an actual orb to ponder.
Yeah.
Well, so like I'm gonna leave the gift shop with like so many things. We've got Orbeez, we've got bubble gum, we've got actual soap, we've got like bubble bath, we've got a huge just like electricity orb, one of those electricity orbs even. So I kind of get a little bit of a best of both worlds.
Nice.
I think there's like bubbles too, right? So like
the blow bubbles.
The blow bubbles.
Oh my gosh, we all get done and get back in the car and we're just blowing bubbles for like the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Just sitting with them outside of the car.
Got like our inflatable bubble arms on, like
I make an amazing poem out of all of this, and I think Cybil profusely. This was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And of course, Cybil's kind of upset, right? Because I've given my rival some great content for their blog when that was not my goal.
Okay, so would you say that then is a black die outcome?
I think so.
Yeah, for Cybil.
That's so funny. Chloe's like, "Yes, Cybil, we'll do what you've actually wanted. We will go along with it." And you're like,
Cybil
"Wait,
was excited.
shit, no."
Cybil was like
I'm
super
too
excited.
good at this.
Like, yes, I won. Like, this is great. And like, I'm gonna go to this place. I've been wanting to go to it for a while. I just haven't gotten here. And like some of my like fans and stuff are interested in it. And then you just have all of these poems and great whimsical things about the place.
Yep.
I'm imagining how you kind of like, because like you've got the Bob Chloe poet muse thing. Like there's so many things where like I'm doing something silly, like just, putting my hand up, and you're like writing poems about holding the weight of the world as I'm holding this, or like being trapped and confined in the bubble, that kind of poetry.
Well, yeah. So it's not like you're holding the quote unquote weight of the world, but it's the delicacy of the world.
Oh yeah.
It's how delicate the world is, and then being trapped inside this bubble is like this other weird, like you're trying to protect yourself, but it's very bad. That poem didn't do so great, but like a lot of the other ones were really good.
Yeah, like kind of go wild with it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that ends up being a black die to Cybil.
Everyone did exactly what you did, and like what you wanted, and had a great time, and it was the worst possible thing for you.
It was the worst option.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You're spending like the whole time when you're like, maybe we should have gone to that lamp.
No, Cybil is extremely upset. It's like, I could have made the lamp stuff work. I could have made the lamp stuff work.
Just so distracted by how much fun that Chloe is having and how inspired that it's like, crap, I didn't take proper notes for
I didn't do much. Like, oh no. Wait, what is she doing? Like, what's there? What's that? What are you doing? Like, oh, that's a good idea. And then like Chloe's like posting everything like super quick, and like it's just
because I don't have an editor I have to screen through.
Right. I have to send things. My editor's like, this is the New York Times. Like, why are you going to this big bubble? That's not what our viewers want to see. You're supposed to go to the Grand Canyon. I'm getting there. You know, it's about the journey as well as the destination.
Exactly.
So, you know, I have to find all the things, and they're just, they're not loving the things I'm sending them.
Yeah, they want exclusively an article on the Grand Canyon. Like none of this other superfluous stuff. Like the Grand Canyon is going to bring in the viewers, not some giant bubble. And you're like, actually, the bubble is kind of cool, though.
Try to convince them. You know, I have followers on like Twitter that are interested in it, but they don't care. They want the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to make a connection. Like, oh well, you know, I want to talk about the Grand Canyon, of course, but like also what things can go into the Grand Canyon. So as I go on this trip, I'm pointing out things that can go into the Grand Canyon. Like, oh, look at this giant bubble. It can, like 20 of them can go into the Grand Canyon. It's so big, so long. But they're not buying it. They're not buying it yet. So, you know.
We're still.
Oh no.
All right. So let's see. I think that leaves us next up with Evie.
Right. So I feel like I'm stuck on the tourist trap thing. So I'm going to choose to resolve the scene to see what you guys come up with for a scene.
Okay.
I can't think of something cool off the top of my head right now. So we'll see what you guys get together.
I got an idea.
Okay.
So you know how when you're going down the road in, you know, big road trips where it's that you're in the middle of nowhere and there are these billboards that say the thing.
Yeah.
50 miles, the thing. 30 miles. You don't want to miss it. And we're just like so hyped up. Like, what is the thing?
It's
what
here.
is the thing? Next exit, the thing. And I don't know what it'll be, but I feel like it's something that's like both entertaining to a point, but like also kind of disappointing after all the hype. So I don't know. What should the thing be?
My first thought was like maybe some like caverns kind of out that direction, like kind of not like near the Grand Canyon, but kind of on the road there. Like, oh yeah, like there's some like, you know, special caverns you can go see.
Yeah.
And when we get there, it's like a 15-minute tour. You know, there's like the same like 3 rock formations that they have in every set of canyons. Like you got the one looks like a birthday cake, one looks like a chandelier, and then one looks like a column, and you're like, oh, okay.
And it was like maybe like a good like 40 miles plus like off the interstate.
Yeah, we detoured for it. Like it was added an extra 3 hours to our drive to make it out to here. Like we hit some traffic on the way, like that kind of thing. All the other people who were on their way to go see it, maybe.
And maybe like Bob like heard about it and like you know like, oh, you know, my friends and stuff said like it was a good idea, like we had to stop there, we're going out here, like knew about the trip, like we had to stop here. And so
I saw it as like a kid or something, like when I was like 5 years old. I saw it and I was like, whoa, it looks like a birthday cake, it looks like a chandelier. I'm so excited for it. And I come back like, I remember this birthday cake being a lot bigger.
I think that this is an instance where we're following off on this wonderful like bubble success.
We're riding that bubble high. Like, let's go see the next one.
And so Chloe's like, absolutely follow my muse. We're gonna go, we're gonna do this. And then when we get there, it's like so disappointing. And Chloe busts out the mug and like has you try like doing a couple of poses drinking with the mug, because like the mug is supposed to be like the like anything works. And she's just not feeling it. And she just has this moment of absolute disappointment with her muse.
I like the idea of like Bob still actually kind of like having a good time, even though it's clear everyone else is not. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this birthday cake. It was bigger when I was little, but hey, it does look like a birthday cake, right? And then everyone, no one else is into it. No one else can.
Just sitting there going, Uncle
what?
Bob, what?
You made us drive 3 hours for this.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe there's some like longer lines too, right? So like the signs like not only got us, but like got us, other people too. Maybe some families.
Yep. There's a bunch of like road
Kids
tripping families.
Kids
are running around screaming. They're like touching all the
Chloe-
stalagmites that they shouldn't be touching.
Chloe's like so upset about it. She doesn't even attempt to write a poem. She just straight up writes a blog. Do not go here. This is the biggest disappointment of my life. And like goes straight, just like angry fucking blog of like, no, this place needs shut down. This was a joke. They stole our money. This was horrible. Stay away, boycott, blah, blah, blah.
It was like $5 for a tour. We paid $20. We were fine. It's like, this is a total waste of that $5. I could have bought a coffee.
Right. Oh gosh.
The gift shop just has keychains, and it didn't even have Chloe. Like, it didn't have the name Chloe as a keychain. It had Bob, of course.
It had Bob,
Of course.
but it didn't have anybody else.
I'm about to say anyone else's name.
Yeah.
Your name. You got
It had
one.
Gerry with a J. And
Yeah, Jerry with a
Yes.
J. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so we leave and everyone else is upset. But Bob is happy.
I was loving it.
Just having a good time.
I'm curious, how does this work out for Cybil? Because like we were running off of this bubble high, and
Yeah.
then we have
Well,
this disappointment here.
So Bubble wasn't extremely super helpful for Cybil.
Right.
Her job is looking at like, okay, when are you getting to the Grand Canyon? Why are you road tripping there? And so like, I think Cybil is a little annoyed because it's not really a great place, but also, I mean, kind of happy that it's not necessarily a great place for Chloe as well. So it's like and this destination, like no one gets any good content.
Right.
It's almost a win for you in the fact that like this isn't just
True.
a stop for you. This
True.
isn't like you writing anything about this. This is just a stop for you.
Yeah,
But
true.
for Chloe, this is actually a thing she's trying to like blog about or
True,
write poems about. So for you, it's a win.
It is a win. It is a win. Me and Bob might be on top on this. Yeah, I see it. We're just, like,
I think-
okay.
I think we might not see it until like the next day or so, but like Chloe writes her scathing post about this place, and then it picks up like in this very niche market a bunch of people who are like, yeah, I remember that place, and like just this angry rant that just like gives her the satisfaction, even though it's like it doesn't go viral or anything, but it like gives her that angry satisfaction of other people who agree with her. And
It's a
so
validation.
a little bit of validation, like way after the fact. But
you've got like the 5 people who are searching for these caverns on Twitter who are like, yeah, I wanted to post something about how much I hated it too, and then like the actual like official Twitter, not verified, like they don't have full verified, so it's just the official Twitter. It's just kind of like, oh, sorry you had a bad time, hope to see you again.
Yeah. Okay, so I
Hmm.
have to give away a dice.
yes.
And I don't know, I feel like this might be a white die that goes to Bob and to Cybil.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
you do have to pick one.
Oh, I'm gonna pick Bob because I feel like he had the greater of the happinesses out of this.
Yeah.
Just the oblivious like nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like trying to recreate some old pictures from when I was a kid,
Mhm.
like
Yeah, like in
Holding
the
the
gift,
chandelier up.
like in the gift shop, it's kind of like a Disney and stuff. Like when you like are in the area, they like take a random picture of you, like
yeah.
and you pull out. You brought yours, and you're like, oh look.
I like the idea of maybe like some of the disillusions are gone, where like you realize that Bob just kind of does the same things at each tourist trap, like the holding it up picture. Like when you see him do it with the chandelier, you're like,
Starting to realize, wait a second.
yeah, this guy just has like 2 things that he does for every picture, you know?
Is he really my muse?
Yeah. How,
Oh.
how inspiring is he actually?
Right.
Oh yes. Oof,
Uh,
love that.
all right.
Okay.
So I was thinking about maybe establishing some kind of scene with regard to like a flashback of the family that Cybil is trying to get away from, because we've seen a
Okay.
lot
Ooh,
of
yeah.
like why Gerry might want to get away from Bob, but
Yeah.
we haven't heard too much about the family that Sybil's trying to get away from. So maybe some kind of flashback to an event or something that kind of like triggered the desire to start being a travel critic and get on the road away from family?
Yeah. So I'm thinking that Cybil is a writer, has been writing for maybe newspapers, maybe local papers, was feeling kind of stagnant. Maybe in a small town, family, job was decent, but family didn't really want to do much, or Cybil has dreams and goals, and family was really trying to keep Cybil kind of in the small town, and Cybil wanted to break out, for lack of better words. So Cybil, maybe for school, maybe went to like grad school, maybe went to a local kind of college, but maybe for grad school or something, Cybil went away and got first taste of like out of small town life, kind of small area life, and started to really enjoy it. But her family was just didn't really want to, didn't really agree with it, and tried to get her to come back, and started maybe not speaking positively about her, and saying things like, well, you're gonna be out there on the road, we don't, you're like a city person now, sort of thing, you're going to be doing XYZ. And so Cybil's like, you know what, no, I don't want to live here, don't want to be here, don't want to do the same things that my family's doing, and follow that progression. Life's too short, like the world is too big, and really started to talk to people when she was away in grad school, and decided that she enjoyed
Is that where we
traveling
met?
and writing. Yeah, I think that's where we met.
Yeah,
maybe you already came from a larger area, and Cybil will talk about her smaller town, which ended up being a smaller college town, but still smaller town, and maybe you were from a larger area anyway, and talked about all the great things you've done, and maybe traveled with your family, and Cybil wanted a piece of that and wanted something different.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
Imagining your parents are the kind of parents who are like, oh yeah, you can write for the local newspaper. There's plenty to write about in our town. Like, it's like the headlines are like, Gertrude wins bingo night, and you're like,
Right.
I don't want to write this in the newspaper. You're like, I want to write for the Times.
Right. I think Cybil like first got her job because like a small town, right? So it was like, oh, your dad knew the editor or whatever, and like, okay, you have a paper route, and kind of working her way up from there. Of having a paper route as a kid. And I like that. Like, definitely parents are just like, no, like, you're gonna write about
you like in high school, maybe you were writing for like the school newspaper, and it was like, our high school beat the only other high school in the area at volleyball today, and lost to them at like soccer, and that was the news.
And I kind of love the idea that maybe Cybil's family is really into that level of news, and now that Cybil's kind of like got this more big shot sort of situation going on, they like sometimes read the articles and they're like, we don't understand this, why don't you just come back home and talk about how old man Willie down the road, he found a bone in the backyard, nobody's sure what it is.
And then like the next week, retraction of last article, turns out it was a turkey leg that got pulled out of the trash by a raccoon.
And they are totally into that, and they want that, and they think that what you're doing is like confusing and stuff.
They just don't understand it. They don't. Like, why do you want to be near the beach? Like, we're not near the beach. Like,
you're reviewing some like place that Kim Kardashian like stayed at a hotel or something, and you're like reviewing it, and they're like, I don't know who a Kardashian is. Why do we care about this? So
that room was how much a night? Like, and you pay for it? Like, what? Like, they can't fathom some of the spaces and some of the places that Cybil goes, and the amount of money that is spent on Cybil's travel.
And maybe that's like the kind of thing that like while you're traveling around, you kind of just pick up on like what what your parents exactly were thinking when you were like, going to these different tourist traps, like, you know what, did I really enjoy going to this place, or is it just kind of a thing that I went to because it's part of the job? Like, maybe just kind of like, oh yeah, if I'm not enjoying the world's largest bubble, what am I enjoying?
Right. And I think too, that's like the part of the nag, right? So like her parents are just trying to, when they do actually read something that she's written, they try to like say like, oh, you went that far to do that, where you can see the bubble. Well, the kids at the elementary school, they like started these balls of dirt, and they're been rolling them around, and it hasn't rained yet, so it's just making it as big as possible. We're in a drought. Like they're trying to say like, why are you going that far, but when you can be right here?
Yeah, we got bubbles at
that's
home.
what Cybil doesn't like. She's like, the world is so much more past the town. Yeah.
I think that creates a really cool dynamic too for Cybil and Chloe, because Chloe is very much so this like poetic, like, oh, the world is this beautiful, wonderful place. And like, even when we go to like really silly small places, usually there's like some sort of a beauty or something, except for that stupid cavern. It's like the one time you've seen Chloe break and it was bad.
Like you could have gone to like that, like Chloe could have gone to that small town and maybe found some kind of small town charm that like Cybil doesn't really see anymore because you grew up with it. You're like, oh yeah, like I don't really care too much about the cornfields. I've seen those a billion times. But to Chloe, it's like, oh, it's a beautiful like nature, man and nature coming together to create a bounty of life. And you're like,
what?
I don't want
to.
What? What?
Right. And maybe like the cavern. That's one of the reasons why like Cybil wasn't really into the cavern, because maybe there was a cavern kind of close to her town, and just wasn't really. That was where their family kind of went on a trip.
It was the same size cavern.
Familiar, right?
Yeah.
It's got the same like 3 formations as it was in the cavern at your hometown. You're like, yeah, I've seen it. Like birthday cake.
Are we near my? Where are we at?
Just walking.
So maybe did Cybil and Gerry, did you guys kind of meet going together to get away from nagging family? How did you guys kind of like meet there? Like how did you guys decide, oh, you know what, I want to get out of here, let's hit the road?
I feel like this is a case of where like Gerry started off with just like, oh, I was reading, the paper or whatever, maybe the blog itself, just like, oh, this is neat. And why can't I do that? I'd much rather do that than sit around here, getting fussed at about, why aren't you in college yet? Why aren't you doing this? It's like, no, let me just figure it out as I go. Stop fussing at me. But I maybe it was a case of, started chatting, online type stuff. Like, how did you get this idea to, go out and do this as opposed to do something else? And just like started from this place of like admiration for what you were doing, and just worked out that you happening to know Chloe, happening to have picked up Bob as news,
right?
Wow, we were like this trip together.
Yeah. I imagine it was kind of like an on the way thing where it's moment. Like maybe like Gerry was like saying at some family gathering, like, oh yeah, I met this travel blogger, we're gonna go on this road trip to the Grand Canyon, and Uncle Bob just like invites himself along, like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to go see the Grand Canyon, I'll tag along. And maybe like kind of along the way is when Chloe like looked at Bob one day, it was just like, what, I need to write about whatever this person is experiencing, because he's seeing the world in an entirely different light.
And maybe that's like part of our like Cybil and Gerry's relationship of like, you reached out to me, and so it's kind of like a teacher student kind of coach situation, and sometimes that's why our heads butt sometimes, because it's like, okay, listen to me, follow me.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that would be a white die for Cybil, and that like being able to go out on the road and get away is like really helping you live the kind of life that you want to live, rather than like the one that your parents kind of like had in mind for you of just living in a small town. I think
Yeah,
getting
definitely.
out and seeing things is the right call for you, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep, sounds good to me. I mean, okay. I've got an idea for a scene, and I think I'm gonna pull in. I think I'm gonna pull in the poet muse dynamic, the travel mug, and the rivalry between you two travel critics. Quite possibly in the case of, you know, the question of why the mug? Why the mug? What does the mug do? But I don't know who should be asking the question.
Well,
would it be Bob going, this is a weird mug, okay? It's just
I
weird.
don't know. I don't know. Like, tell me
so-
if I'm wrong, but I feel like Bob just goes along.
Yes.
He doesn't really
yeah,
ask.
yeah. Oh yeah. Bob, like,
Okay.
if you guys want to stop somewhere along the way, Bob's like, yeah. Hey, I'm just going to the Grand Canyon. I'll check out anything along the way.
Here, hold
think-
this mug
Yeah.
and drink from it. Okay.
I
think
I
maybe
feel like
Cybil.
maybe the mug was kind of like how we met in a sense, or how I became your muse. Like, I was thinking in my mind, like, maybe this is a mug where we stopped at some, you know, Trashy Dan's, you know, eatery, that kind of thing, and they had some kind of food challenge, and if you won, you get this cool little mug. And like, if you can eat all of the big pile of greasy fries or something before the timer runs out, you get the little mug. And Bob has not signed up for one of these competitions. Every time we've gone anywhere, like, you know, spicy flaming hot nachos, I eat it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try it.
Trashy Dan's garbage pail challenge.
Oh, there we go.
It's
I love that.
all of the leftovers refried.
Yes.
Ooh.
It's just, what's in it? Yeah, different every day. You know, like, we wait until it's right at that point where we have to start calling in the health inspector, and then we fry it and put it in the pail,
Yeah.
and someone gets to eat it.
Okay, and this was when you became my muse, because this was the moment where, just like in absolute like shock and kind of horror watching you do this, I then stopped and thought about it, because it took you a long time to eat this. And I was like, but all this refuse has been repurposed into a deliciousness that he is consuming. And he has this perspective of being able to take what people might consider rubbish and enjoy the like flavor of it. And like, so like, that was the first time I wrote this beautiful poem as Bob as my muse for it. And so yeah, I think this all comes out maybe as a Gerry picks up the mug and goes to use it, and I snatch it from you and I go, no.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
And then like explain out, like it comes
Yeah.
out this whole bit around
Yeah.
like why this mug matters, because it was the moment when Bob was like, that moment for a muse, like I thought of things
Yeah.
in a way I hadn't thought of them before.
For Bob doesn't even really like the mug. He just wanted to do the challenge. He just wanted to like be like, yeah, I ate Trashy Dan's garbage pail. And then like you every time you kind of push the mug on him, he kind of like is fine to go along with it, but he's also just like, I don't really like the mug that much. Like it's hasn't really been properly cleaned in a dishwasher, because we're on like a trip right now, you know, so we have to kind of wash it by hand. So it's got like a little bit of like, you know, some leftover Coke residue
weird-
stuck inside the nose of it or something. And it's just
the
like
flavor of stale.
yeah. It's like, okay, I guess I'll drink from the mug. That's fine. Yeah. It's like one of the few times that you see Bob just not really on board with something. It's just every time you kind of hand him the mug to like, drink from the mug, Bob.
I mean, it's so incredibly, and like I explained this to Gerry about how like it's so incredibly symbolic, and when I'm struggling, I get that, you know, reminder of that there is some level of flavor and wonder in any moment except that damn cavern.
Yeah.
Ooh. And I think in saying that, it's like the flavor in, you know, even in this moment.
Yes.
And it's like, and me being the awful, not awful, but you know how some of your relatives are just gremlins.
Yeah.
Yes.
She gets that look and she's just like, so Uncle Bob, what's the flavor of the mug?
And I feel like maybe Uncle Bob like thinks that because we're family, I can kind of confide in you a little bit, and we'll just kind of like say at some point, like, I didn't even really like the garbage pail that much, to be honest. Like, I know that Chloe's been really like talking about how I was savoring the flavors and like reusing refuse for something good, but it honestly tasted kind of bad. It was just really greasy, and my stomach was so hurt the next day. That's why I wasn't really talking that much or singing along to all my favorite songs in the cassette, because I just wasn't really feeling it the next day. I kept looking for the next rest stop. So,
Okay. The question is, does Chloe find that out? Does that get leaked to her?
does
not
Gerry share to
not
Chloe?
in this scene. Gerry
Okay.
does not share it. Not yet.
Not yet. That's a good tilt angle of.
I think that's a good thing for Cybil to overhear though. And
Oh yeah.
Because
Cybil,
like, yeah, because like, oh, this is where all your inspiration comes from.
And I'm
Your
already starting to
inspiration
get a
ain't
little
even
rocky
inspired.
because of
Yeah.
the cavern thing with Bob.
Yeah, like like Gerry and Cybil are maybe like kind of confiding each other a little bit about their nagging family, and it's like, oh yeah, Uncle Bob was telling me all about it. He doesn't even like the mug. Can you believe that? And then
What?
Sybil's like,
Doesn't?
he doesn't like the mug.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting. Tell me some more about why he doesn't like it.
He says
the garbage pail was garbage.
Oh, yes. Okay, so what is the outcome of this? We went like 6 different directions. So what is the outcome?
I mean, I kind of feel like the outcome is, I don't know, because it's maybe a future outcome, but it's the planted seeds for Cybil.
Okay.
So like a white for Cybil, maybe, unless somebody thinks there's a better.
I was thinking maybe a black for Bob and his relationship with Chloe, as like this is going to be a step like to kind of breaking that friendship, like.
But it didn't happen yet.
Yeah, that's true. It's just kind of like setting the stage for it.
Yeah, a lot of this was setting the stage. Nothing like concrete happened just yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think I would agree with the white for Cybil. Just for the sake of the
Yeah, like oh really?
Something I can work with. Okay. Which brings us to Cybil's next scene, I think.
I will. Maybe that should be should we talk about that maybe next?
Ooh. Okay.
So I think Cybil and Chloe are maybe sharing notes on where we should go, what we should do, and get into an argument.
Yeah, we're getting close to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, we're
so
getting
like
close.
Yeah,
we're getting close. So maybe we're talking about like if we should maybe go straight there or take a detour somewhere else really quick and circle back to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Cybil's all about going to somewhere else. But maybe Chloe, especially after not really getting any inspiration from the cavern, really needs to get to the Grand Canyon and be in the open air and sunlight and do some writing.
Yeah, maybe like disagree on like where to go to the Grand Canyon, because it's fairly big and there's like different areas.
Got a couple of entry points.
Got the North Rim, the South Rim. You could go hike down into it. You could do some whitewater rafting. There's so many options.
Yeah. Do you want to like go to like the forest, national forest there? Do you want to go through one of the more like desert areas? Like what is better for a travel blog versus what's better for a poet? Like what is the angle that you guys want to go on with that?
Yeah, so is Cybil going a fairly standard angle of like, this is the Grand Canyon, you go through the main entrance, these are the things you see, like
that's what her editor wants. So that's some of what she needs to get. Yeah.
Because I feel like it would make sense that Chloe's like, no, we're gonna take like the back door entrance, we're gonna like do the hike through, we're gonna like go down to this area that nobody ever really goes to, we're gonna see like all these different places, we're gonna like sleep there a few nights under the stars.
Yeah.
Like there's just like so much poetry, and like she's trying to convince Cybil like everybody writes that kind of travel blog, like everybody writes that kind of travel article. You're just gonna copy paste basically from others. Why don't you try something a little different, like
I don't
under the stars in the forest?
I don't copy paste. I don't know, you know. And then I think Cybil's very like taken aback by that. And like, what do you mean copy paste? And like, you know, I've won awards, and you know, I have a book deal that's coming out, a book that's coming out, a travel book, and you know, are you even really inspired? Because and I think she like just divulges about the mug. Like, do you even think Bob likes a mug? Or like, do you think Bob like even wants that mug or is happy? Because I was told that he doesn't. And I think Cybil just like goes and starts to like really yell at Chloe almost about, you know, because Cybil's really taken aback about saying that she's copy paste.
Now here's a question for you. Where is this argument occurring?
I was thinking the same thing. In the car.
Are y'all in the back seat of the car?
That's a good question.
Gerry's relationship with Cybil is the backseat driver heckler. So I like the idea of maybe like, you know, Gerry's driving, Bob's in the passenger side, and then Cybil and Chloe are in the back seat arguing very loudly while Cybil's
we were originally conferring, and it has turned into this terrible argument.
Yeah. Like, you know, suddenly it got very personal with like, they're like, oh, is Chloe like, does she think she's better than me because she writes poetry instead of like writing articles, that kind of thing. And then meanwhile, Gerry's just like trying to keep track of the exit of like which one we're trying to go to.
Well, it's like just sweating profusely because, oh no.
Gerry started out like asking like, oh, so do you guys want to go to the forest or do you guys want to go to the desert side for the entry? Like Gerry's driving, trying to figure it out, and like there's like a sign up ahead.
In the Goofy movie.
Where the Goofy movie, exactly. I was thinking the same thing. Left!
Yeah, so Chloe and Cybil still haven't given you that answer.
No, not at all.
And the exit's coming up.
Yeah.
Too busy arguing and then talking about the mug.
Yeah.
And then I think
Bob's
that's when it kind of turns bad, and Bob gets kind of pulled into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, is that true?
Bob, the mug's fine.
Gerry,
I'll drink from the mug.
Gerry, tell her what you told me.
Left,
Which
right.
exit? Which exit?
Gerry, the mug. Talk about the mug.
Bob's trying to act like he's trying to help you drive. Like he's trying to like avoid the conversation with his boss. Like, yeah, the mug's fine. Okay, yeah, it looks like if you take the left, you can take the long way around. You can get to the entryway.
And Cybil is just very adamant on no, they're lying, and it's not. I promise. I heard it with my own eyes. I overheard them talking about it. Like Gerry was there. Believe me, sort of thing. But does Chloe is Chloe upset at Bob?
Oh yeah, no, Chloe is absolutely just like, because this is on the heels of that absolute disaster where she'd gotten a crack in her own.
Oh yeah.
And now you basically just hit that and shattered.
Yeah.
And so it is absolute mayhem in the car. And I think what ends up having to happen is like, you have to pull over.
Yeah, I was gonna say Gerry just pulls over the car.
Cybil's hysterical, like you're all frauds. Like you're fraud.
You're just, oh my gosh, I can't handle this. Just off we go to the side of the road for a bit. It's like, look, I'm sorry I ever told you that. I should have kept my mouth shut.
And then that's like confirmation. Yeah. Like Chloe has not been able to get a straight answer in this situation, but then that's confirmation. She opens the door and storms out and like stomps off into like the side area and like runs off and is like just screaming and cursing and yelling. It's not very coherent because it's like off in the distance a little bit.
Bob's a bit upset that like you were sharing that apparently, and is like gets out of the car like also just like also kind of fuming, just like maybe on the way out like looks like just kind of looks at the luggage and it's like, did you leave the poster case somewhere again? Where's Danny?
No, I'm pretty sure I definitely packed it this time.
And like Bob just takes a quick look and you left it. You've been hiding it this whole time.
I definitely didn't leave it this time.
And Cybil, like maybe Cybil and Gerry have also talked about the poster. So Sybil's like done with everybody at this point. Sybil's like, Gerry, tell him.
Look, no, it's important to him. So look, I definitely packed it this time. I swear.
Gerry.
What do you mean? Maybe it's important to me. I thought that you liked it. I thought we were like connecting like as family.
It's just a poster.
It's a relative of ours.
Danny DeVito. It's just a poster.
He's like a movie star, and he's like our third cousin.
Your third cousin. I don't even really know that we're related.
He's been to at least one of the dinners we've been to together. Maybe you didn't recognize him because he had to wear a hat.
Maybe. I can't even confirm this. No one else will confirm this for me.
Yeah. I'm imagining like there's like enough of like an age like difference between Bob and Gerry where Bob really is like, in his like mid 40s or something. Gerry's like out of college or like college age. And it's like I maybe he showed up at some party I went to. I don't know. I was a child. I don't know who Danny DeVito was when I was 3.
Pretty much.
But now Bob's just like, how am I going to explain this to Danny?
Like we pulled over and like parked, and I feel like Jay absolutely is rifling through now, like because this time for real, like did not try to lose it. Just doesn't know where in the luggage it is.
Yeah, you want to prove to Bob like, no, Bob. Even though I don't want to be on this road trip with you, but you're still my Uncle Bob.
Pretty much. Like you invited yourself, but that doesn't mean I dislike you. I just sometimes I need some space, It's like all these details coming out.
Family is nice, but there's only so many times you can watch your Uncle Bob do an eating challenge and not just be like, oh no, please don't eat the 3-pound burger patty. Like, please don't do this.
Your heartburn. Think about your heartburn.
Oh, I absolutely. I'm just like drip feeding like Pepto-Bismol into myself the entire day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's one of those cases of this is all going awful. So
we eventually, I guess, reconvene. Chloe's very quiet.
Yeah, just get into the car.
I think everyone's kind of quiet, right? Because
Chloe sits in the passenger seat so that she doesn't have to sit in the back.
Yeah.
Bob basically gets kicked into the back.
Yeah, I'm sitting next to Cybil, but I'm not like particularly happy about it. But because you shared that, so Bob's just kind of like sitting down, passes the map to Chloe.
Cybil bloated a lot, and so while Cybil is not exactly happy about everything, I think Cybil is still very quiet and annoyed and still upset with Chloe.
And then Chloe, since she has the map, chooses to take the back route when we get back on the road.
Gives Gerry a definitive answer.
Very quietly directs Gerry to that exit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cybil's extra.
Yeah.
So yes. Okay. So I think with how this scene just went and blew up in 10 directions, we should probably divvy up the remaining dice so that we're ready to do the tilt when we get back. So we have 4 white dice left and 7 black dice left. How do we want to divvy these up?
So we need to give out 3 dice, or we need to give out all those dice?
We need to give out all of those dice so that we can go into Act 2.
I think everyone just had a black dice happen.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Black dice to everyone.
At least one.
For Chloe, she definitely got the black die out of Lost Musing with Bob. So that's definitely a black. But she got a white die because we're going to the back door of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, you got your way in the end.
So I got one of those, each of those.
Okay.
Yep.
Gerry
And
for sure.
maybe a black die in regards to Chloe had always seen her relationship with Cybil as, yeah, we're rivals, but we're friends about it because we're doing this very differently. And I'm trying to help you, like, maybe do it a little bit differently. But then this went so very badly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I think, yeah, Cybil definitely deserves a black die for
Well, but did it come out the way she wanted, or is it something she didn't want? Because that's what determines black or white. Because Bob got a black die for ending up on the shit list of the relationship situation and the poster situation, and like just everything went badly for Bob in that scene.
Bob just feels really like, oh, you know, like I thought that this was like a fun family outing with like my favorite third cousin, and like it turns out like they're not even really that interested in it.
Did Gerry actually lose the poster?
No, we haven't confirmed it yet. Gerry didn't do it on purpose if it is lost.
So I think that so I think Cybil at the very least needs a black die for even putting some like rockiness between that relationship, and maybe even putting into like Bob's mind that Gerry doesn't like the poster and wants to lose the poster. So I think like that wasn't I think that was just out of being upset, you know, and that was never meant to like get out.
Okay. So then how many do we have left now?
Okay, so we have 1 second, 2, 4, 6, 8 have been divvied up as far as black dice go. And we have 1, 2, 5. We have 3 left for white dice.
I'm going to say Gerry gets a white die because at least the rest of the trip was quiet and they got clean instructions and directions for the rest of the drive there.
The backseat driving heckler thing has been resolved by
a little bit in like the worst way, but
it has been resolved. We've agreed to a ceasefire. Let's see. Okay, so that is 6. We have 2 left. I think Bob might actually end up with a white die because at the very least
everything's out on the table, out open,
out in the open, and Bob seems like a very straightforward kind of person who appreciates that kind of.
I was thinking that too. Like maybe like just like being able to finally like, now that Chloe knows that he doesn't like the mug, maybe that's like a step in the right direction of like look, now I can be more genuine about how much I enjoy these things. I can be more genuine to you and not have to kind of put on this facade of like, yeah, I've got the mug, you know, I'm having a good time here. There's no pressure anymore. It's just like, okay, I can actually do the Grand Canyon thing without having to drink from the mug every like 5 minutes or something.
And I think to that end, Chloe might also end up with another white dice because that dynamic has been like given a new horizon in that way of
I kind of if that's going to be the case, I kind of think that it might be a really cool scene where because Chloe stomped away and then she came back and Gerry was like rifling through all the luggage and Chloe just kind of went over to help because like didn't know what was going on, kind of got filled in on like the newest thing that's now a problem. Rifling through the luggage with Gerry a little bit, and everything kind of gets put together and they all drive away. And like if we do a scene cut, we watch the car drive away and close just like at the rear tire revealed is like the mug sitting there on the side of the road that Chloe surreptitiously just kind of set down.
You like got rid of the mug because you're like, I don't
so it's just quietly it's just been left behind now.
Okay.
I love that.
All right. Excellent. We have used up
these
half
objects
of our dice.
Create so much drama.
Yes.
A possum mug with a little ugly plastic possum mug. You guys winning the competition. Yeah.
Hey, it's not a road trip if you haven't had at least one blow up argument over something stupid.
Yeah.
True.
So yeah, that's half the dice in play have been used. So that brings us to the tilt, which we pretty much take both our sets of dice and roll them together as far as like each of us individually does this. We add together the two pools, and whichever color is the highest is the one that cancels the other out. So essentially, if you were to roll all 4 of your dice and you or however many you've got, and you come up with 3 in black and 5 in white, you would end up with 2 white.
Okay.
So yeah, if we go ahead and do that, we can determine the what it is that goes wrong in the tilt. And it'll be 2 things, 2 complications added to us. So I will roll mine real quick.
And the tallies in the boxes are correct. It's 2 each for black die for all of us. And okay, cool.
Bob has 1 extra white die than everybody else.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I just had one better thing happen to me at some point. Winning that eating competition really did it for me.
All right. We'll go 5 and 4 black. That's 7 minus 3 is 4 black total. All right. I am making a note of mine.
I'm going to put mine in the chat just so I have a reference for it.
All right. Wait, no, 5 and 4 is 9, not 7. I'm terrible at math. 9, so that's 6 black. And 5, so 5 white for Mango.
Yep, 5 white for Mango.
4 white for Evie. Sprinkle was 5 white, so there is
I think I did that right.
2 tied for 5 white, and me at 6 black. Well, I will be contributing to the tilt. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So
were we taking a break before the tilt or after the tilt?
Usually you would take a break after the tilt, so we'd have time to ruminate, but I think it'd be a good idea to take a break before in this case, just so we have a chance to simmer down from the last scene and determine who it is that's contributing to the mayhem. So we have written our things in chat so we can come back to it. And yep, ready for that to go.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for the first half of Fiasco on Wheels, the Forbidden Road Trip. We'll be back shortly after our break. So everyone, please stand up, stretch, hydrate, pet your pets, and we'll be back soon. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, everybody. We are back from break. We're about to enter some chaos, but just as a reminder, we're still raising money for JDF International. If you want to find the donate link, we have an ! Donate command in chat that will bring you to the Tiltify. When we hit $1,200, we will be giving away 5 custom emotes from @Kona So that's all I got from my end. Back to this ridiculousness.
Okay. So where we left off, we were about to go into the tilt, and the tilt is the part of the game where you've used up half of your dice and you're ready to move on into Act 2. But before Act 2 happens, we introduce 2 complications. Usually that would be whoever has the highest black, total from the numbers we totaled before the break, and the highest white total. But we had a tie, so we're going to do this slightly differently. I got the highest black total, so I'm gonna, firstly, we get to, re-roll the remaining dice in the pool. So that would be 8 D6s, because that's what it was supposed to be. I just can't count. All right. So that is the random pool from which we can choose to take elements from the tilt table. I got the highest black total, so I'll grab my general item first. And let's go with, oh good, we have a 4 in there. So I'm gonna go with guilt.
Yep.
That seems fitting.
Yep.
Guilt. Guilt is introduced into our road trip. I will write that down somewhere. And Mango, I think it'd be fitting if you choose the next general category.
I like the idea of failure being
Okay.
being one that we have. So
We
something
have
goes wrong.
failure and guilt. Okay. So let's see. Sprinkle, what element from either guilt or failure would you like to give us?
I think maybe failure. You thought it was taken care of, but it wasn't.
Okay. And Evie, for guilt, what element do you think we should throw in there?
There's some good ones there. We have a 1. Let's get some authorities in the problem.
Okay. A visit from the perhaps unofficial authorities.
State park authorities are
Yeah.
maybe unofficial, kind of official.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. They're very official, but so people don't take them seriously as they probably should.
Yeah, I mean, somebody did just litter, which is a pretty
We did just litter in
serious
a state
offense.
park.
We hadn't arrived in the park yet.
This is true.
Oh,
We
yeah.
haven't arrived in the park, probably.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still. Okay. So this is where we are at the tilt. Typically in a game, you would take care of this, take a little break, go wander around, stretch your legs, and think about what you've done. But we're plowing on ahead. So first things first. First things first. We have been given a direction to go. Gerry has finally gotten a clear indicator of which entrance to take, and that is the back entrance into the park, the nice winding, scenic route. And yeah, I think for this act, let's start with Evie as far as like choosing to establish a resolve.
Okay. I'm going to set the scene then.
Okay.
So we are the first night in the park. We're taking the back route, so we're like camping. There aren't any actual like hotels or anything around here. So everybody's got their tents to have to set up. And I think Chloe sets hers up a little bit further away from the group. And goes out to like gather the like fire material and just takes a really long time. And when she finally comes back, it's like already dark. She's got barely a handful of wood, and she sets it down at, I don't know if you guys already started a fire without her.
I feel like Bob is the kind of like uncle who has to be the guy who definitely starts the fire. Like, oh, I'll take care of lighting the fire, and he tries his hardest to do it with the little flint and steel that he's had. And he's just trying his hardest.
That he's
and
had
eventually,
since Eagle Scouts, probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, I can do this. I was an Eagle Scout 30 years ago. And just realizes that he doesn't have the manual dexterity that he had when he was a little one. Like, he's kind of like the arthritis is starting to kind of kick in a little bit, and so he just kind of feels like a little bit ashamed as he just takes out his little lighter that he's had just in case, and lights it the new fashioned way. But he definitely would also have been the kind of person who's, oh yeah, I need to light a fire, and maybe tried to like rekindle something with Gerry a bit. I'm like, let me show you how to light a fire with flint and steel. Like, this is a thing I can show you, and desperately trying to show Gerry, like, look, I can do it. But no.
I saw sparks there.
Yeah, like there's like sparks coming out, but like the tinder's a little bit too damp.
I think
they got a lot of rain this year or something.
And maybe Cybil goes over to kind of help, because where Cybil lives, they light fires all the time and all kind of elements. So, yeah, Cybil has random stuff that's brought with her just because.
Yeah,
just because stuff. Yeah, maybe like a matches or something.
I was thinking like a Swiss Army knife that was a gift from your parents.
Nice. Yeah. Help chop down
matchbox,
whittle some wood, and with a matchbox, and like, oh, here. Like, you all don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Though she doesn't want to live there, she definitely pulls from that experience.
Yeah. Like, oh, you gotta take some like bark from a tree that's dead. You can't take it off the ground because the ground's all damp.
You all don't know what you're doing.
But that's like how you become an uncle, is you got to not know what you're doing, but you have to really commit to doing
it. So when Chloe gets back, I guess there is a fire going.
Yeah. She just kind of like does the stack of, like, she's got bigger-ish sticks, just stacks it over the top of like the fire and just quietly just stacks it up so that it would be able to kind of like burn through the night. And then picks up like a cup of the beans or whatever that have been cooked and sort of walks away.
The canned Chef Boyardee raviolis or something.
Yes.
Just pop the can off and put it on a little tiny stove or something. It's probably very awkward and very quiet. Like,
yeah, because we were like, just everything just happened.
Yep.
We
Yeah,
just
yeah.
got there not too long ago before. And so it's pretty quiet.
Now, is this like an official campground that we're at, or are we just kind of like...
So I was thinking this could be the fun moment where those authorities show up.
Yeah, like,
because
so where's your permit?
We're definitely not where we're supposed to be for having a fire.
Right. Or you're right, or we needed something like a permit or something.
Yeah, and you
Some
like
sort
need
of
to be in
permission.
officially designated areas or whatever.
Yeah.
And we are not.
As a counter to that, perhaps we're in the official area, but we didn't check with the local, not fire station, but the local rangers to determine whether it was safe to have a fire.
Yeah, there's like
So
fire
it's
pit
like-
areas that they set aside. Like, it's safe to do it here. They've got like the pre-made stone circles and all that.
We put it in there, but we probably shouldn't be for the weather with
It's
the
like
fire.
a fire hazard red or something.
It's like
Yeah.
too windy or something. Like,
Mhm.
So a couple of like rangers show up and are like, "You guys can't be doing this."
What are you doing?
Folks, the fire hazard for today, we're in a red. You need to put that out now.
There's a big sign near the front entrance. Like, you should have seen it when you came in. There's a big sign that says fire like hazard level today, and it was in the red. You guys didn't see that when you came in, or it's like you went in the back way.
There's like one at the back way that is like just a little bit, covered by some shrubs, just slightly, but
it's one of those like stones that can tell you what the weather is. Like, if the stone is wet, it's raining. If the stone is dry, it's sunny. If the stone is moving around, then it's windy. Like,
and like the rope dry rotted, so the rock has fallen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even the gag weather meter isn't there.
But yeah, They probably came up with like water and stuff to smother our fire because like there's smoke and they're like, no,
Not okay.
this is a
Yeah.
desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our tourist behinds get our campfire shut down.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So now we're sitting in the dark, I guess.
Yeah.
in Hungary because
All we brought
maybe
was canned
Chloe had
food.
most of the food with her,
Yeah.
and so we
Probably
didn't
having
have
been
really
slapped with a fine,
much.
at least.
Yeah.
Starving and like really hungry.
Just yeah, we were like in tents because like we were planning to like camp out here in tents and like, you know, like, oh, it'd be a good time, you know, like we pack the tents, we could go hang out. And then it turns out we're gonna have no fire. It's gonna be really cold. Like
Yeah, true.
But we got sleeping bags, probably.
Bags.
yeah.
Did
Oh
we
yeah.
remember to bring them?
I think we did.
I think we did.
It seems pretty standard thing to bring.
Yeah. I feel like we probably like Bob's the kind of guy who'd overpack for a trip, but not bring like important things. Like he'd forget like a charger for his phone and be like, I don't
Yeah.
need that. But then remember, like, oh, I've got sleeping bags, propane tank, you know.
Yo.
We have a propane tank, but we can't do anything with it.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
oh, I was gonna grill. No, you can't, sir. You can't grill at the Grand Canyon.
Well, what kind of
Why not?
transportation is this?
Yeah.
How's this for families? You can't even grill and have a cookout.
My dad grilled here when I was a kid, so that was that we haven't been able to do that since the 60s. What?
I'm gonna
My dad broke the law too then.
give this place a bad review. What kind of park is this? It's not a park.
Oh, so it's dark, it's cold. We're probably at this point just kind of huddling in our sleeping bags for warmth and just it's a terrible night.
Everyone's miserable.
Yeah.
And the thing that most breeds a poetic creative mind is misery. So Chloe that night on the last of her laptop battery posts an amazing poem on her fucking blog
Yeah.
about the nature of how a road trip is like, you know, some great cosmic journey and the things that come out along the way and all of this other sort of stuff, and like this ridiculously philosophical, like emotional poem.
So you go to post it and there's no internet.
Oh no.
Because we're out in the middle of nowhere. You've got this thing all written up and you're like, oh, I got this amazing, like this is the best poetry you've written in ages. You finally got that spark again. And then you like look, you're like, no bars.
No bars.
Please tell me it was saved.
Yeah.
It saves. It saves.
Yeah, you were like writing it on like Google Docs or something.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh no, no internet connection.
But yeah, so I can't post it. Just close my laptop,
Yeah,
curl up in my bag, and I go, well, eventually they'll know.
yeah. Like it'll probably be fine. It's, you know, the metrics are a little bit better on a Sunday than on a Tuesday, but
Right,
I guess
exactly.
Yeah.
I think. Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
I was just going to offer a suggestion for dice color as far as outcome, but if you have more to contribute, go ahead.
Oh no, I was thinking like Cybill's just like so miserable, like also looking forward to like getting some work done because she's like, you know, you've already had a post out there too, and just like, you know, I don't have much yet and I really need to like get this done. Like this trip is this has been a great trip, but I need to like get some work done.
Yeah.
And maybe like hoping to talk to Gerry a little bit, because I mean they're like cool, right? They kind of confide in each other a little bit, but yeah.
Bob's like distraught over the fact that like now that he's kind of putting it together, like if I can't light a fire, then I can't like go fishing and then cook the fish I catch to feed everybody. Like he's like kind of going through the list of like all the things that he was thinking about doing, and then like realizing like, oh, maybe I can't do that. I could go whitewater rafting, but I mean, like, I guess it's not the right time of year for that. Like, you know, that kind of thing. Just going through the list of like, all right, well, I I don't know what I'm doing here at the Grand Canyon anymore. If I'm not like going out camping, what am I doing? I'm just gonna go look at this some crack in the ground now. I'm not gonna like do things.
I think I think for the end of that scene, I'm torn. I feel like it could be a white die. So in Act 2, you keep the dice that it's your scene, you keep the dice, but you either determine what color it is or you decide what the scene's going to be. So it could be a white die for Chloe because she managed to put up this really amazing poem. She just can't post it. But it could be black because everything leading up to it was just unpleasant.
Yeah. Everything else is still bad. I think that it might make sense that it's a black because everything else is still bad, and the poem came from being miserable in this whole sort of bad situation, and we haven't actually capitalized on a good thing about the poem yet. So I think that it makes sense that it's probably still a black situation.
Yeah, you'll reach the catharsis when you actually get the chance to like go somewhere else and post it. But
and then start getting the likes. The likes are the catharsis.
The validation, those internet validation.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Well, with that said, it is now Sprinkle's turn, and so it is a scene for Cybil. If you would rather establish or resolve, just let us know.
Yeah, I want to resolve. Yeah.
So how about we cut ahead maybe either next morning or maybe a day or two? We've gotten to a new campground, one of the ones that's got like the actual like designated grilling area that you can safely cook your food and stuff.
Yep.
And
Cybil's an interesting one because to a certain extent, everything's kind of Cybil's fault because Cybil opened the can on all of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we all it
was all our fault that those things existed there.
Yes.
Basically just airing the dirty laundry. Maybe this like scene could be Cybil like actually like doing all the things that she was supposed to. Like her editors basically said, like, okay, you have to go here. We need you to review the campgrounds, whitewater rafting, and then a scenic area. Those are the 3 main points you got to cover for your article. And maybe that's like Cybil just needs to find that, or needs to check off the list. Gotta do your job. Gotta pay your dues. Like whether you actually want to go camping or anything like that. No, it's part of the job now.
Yeah,
we're in a camping area, so. Yeah. Maybe this is the first of the checklist.
And maybe Cybil like tries to kind of reconcile a little bit with Chloe and saying like, hey, I'm going to like check out some of the some sites for my post later and the whitewater rafting for the viewers, and like try to extend that olive branch a little bit because they're still colleagues, right? Like they're still
yeah. And I think that Chloe accepts it in that whole like, we're doing this as a group kind of acceptance way, where it's like I'm not actually fully accepting this, but I am accepting this, but I reserve the right
to say no.
Definitely.
You're at the Grand Canyon. You want to do something while you're there. So being like kind of like, oh, hey, do you want to go whitewater rafting with us later? It's like, I mean, if I say no, what am I even going to do here? Right. Like the least active thing, or the most active thing.
And I feel like this would be a great moment for Bob to be like, yes, I want to go whitewater rafting.
Yes, exactly. Like, yes, absolutely. He like kind of like tries to tag along and probably also tries to kind of extend it to Gerry, just be like, hey, do you want to go with us? Like trying to do like the, like, oh, we could share a kayak together, that kind of thing. Like like it sounds like Cybil and Chloe are going to share a kayak. Do you want to share one with me just to try and do that family bonding thing?
Family.
Okay. I think at this point Gerry has tried damnedest to try and find the DeVito poster and has failed.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like it's one of those things where Gerry's like, I normally wouldn't do this sort of thing because I feel like Gerry's the sort of person who, like me, has a fear of water and is just like, this is not a great idea. But at the same time, it's like, olive branch has been extended. I'd be wrong to slap it out of his hand. And also I lost the poster, so I really have to do this.
I feel like Bob would maybe just kind of like, so like, look, it was rough the other day, you know, people were yelling. It's okay about the whole Danny DeVito thing. And if you don't want to go whitewater rafting, we can do whatever you want to do. Like he's really just there to like have a good time with his family member, you know. We're second, third cousins twice removed on your dad's side. So I think Bob's really like trying to like lean into the whole, you know what, we're family. We're gonna have a good time. You know, we don't have to, I don't care about some poster of Danny DeVito. I can go get another one from him if I need to.
Yeah, I like the idea that we end up like partnered off in this way to do like kayak whitewater rafting, which is not what Chloe thought was happening. And so Chloe's like, but yeah, she goes along with it.
Yeah.
Yes, adventure.
Yeah. And if Gerry was like kind of hesitant on the whitewater rafting thing, like Bob might be like, or we could go fishing. You know, I've got my license renewed last year. I can in all 50 states, if that's what you're more interested in doing, like something a little more tame.
Maybe we can go fishing later. I'm down to. I'm adventurous. Let's try this white rider thing. Yeah,
definitely gonna look for the least turbulent route, like like this is the one that you take your kids on because it's safe for children, you know.
Yep. Just white knuckled in the raft the whole time anyway.
Yeah. I'm doing all of the paddling the entire time.
What does Cybil pick for us, and how does that work out?
So I think that Cybil would want to try to like realizes from the trip that, you know, I do like doing these travel trips, but like having the editor and having these very like structured, like you got to do this, and like going through all the like red tape is not something that Cybil wants to continue to do. So I think Cybil was like wants to talk to Chloe a little bit. So I think they do you know, go in the water a little bit down the river, and then maybe they go for a walk in the like more kind of near the river by the like desert area. I've never been to Grand Canyon, so I don't know. And try to like talk and like take pictures and like get some advice of like how to maybe do her own travel blog, or kind of try to find different ways to go off of go to a new path, a new career path, and really just try to like apologize and say like, you know, I'm sorry, you know, I didn't mean to take offense. You're right. I have this like kind of formula that I have to write a lot of my stuff in. That's how the newspaper does it. You know, I didn't mean anything by it. It was a nice mug. Like, you know, just kind of like
It wasn't a nice mug. It was a horrible mug.
It wasn't a nice mug. But yeah, Chloe's like, you know, just very, very actually ends up like being very into and open to this, and is like, you know, I just wanted you to help you find your own voice. I'm not trying to like diminish what you're doing. You're a very good writer, and I think that you've got more there than what you're doing, and that might be based on the restrictions that your editor's placing on you. And if you do a blog, then it is really about finding your voice and your style. And you were kind of right about the whole thing. When I went back and I looked at the metrics, those particular blogs didn't do as good. The ones where I was stretching and reaching, I thought I'd found like, ooh, you know, the diamond in the rough kind of moments, and they just really weren't working. So
the internet is
sometimes you just have to accept and acknowledge something is garbage.
Yeah.
True.
Sometimes people want to read those BuzzFeed articles that are like top 10 coolest rocks to see at the Grand Canyon. Sometimes what people want to see is just top 10 coolest rocks at the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. And sometimes people want to know like all the details of all the things that do at the Grand Canyon so they can prepare and plan for their families. Though it's not the type of thing I want to write anymore.
I think that whichever direction you want to go, you're a strong writer. I mean,
Thank you.
Time Magazine, Time Paper. Who do you write for?
The New York Times, yeah.
New York Times, that one. They hired you for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Yes, and you're awesome too. I mean, in order to even get a reach to where you can provide for yourself, you have to have a lot of people into your stuff and a lot of like sponsors and stuff. So that's awesome.
It's all about finding your voice. I've got a little bit of a niche with the whole poetry travel blog situation.
Yeah, seems like it. Your muse seems awesome. So
I'm rethinking it. We'll figure it out.
fair.
And I think maybe at the end of all of this, she shares the like poem that she wrote, which was from like all of that. And she's like, it actually was good to have all this come out. Like it's helped me sort of put things in a different perspective. And this is like really good poem that she's got of like everything.
This is
she's
really
like
good. You should really like post this and like, yeah, this is really good. Really
yeah,
good.
when we eventually have freaking Wi-Fi, I
Yeah.
will.
Make sure you
you
post it
know.
in a nice script font. You know, it's got to look good.
Oh, you should have told me like you needed it. Like for work, I have this hotspot. It works like pretty much everywhere. I mean, the paper pays for it because they want to make sure I can like check email wherever. So I'm here. Like, please.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, definitely like get on and upload my stuff then. It's like, so yeah, it sounds like we've mended.
Yes.
I think we're good again.
Okay. So that sounds like that's a white die to, or well, actually you chose to
You get to
resolve,
decide.
so you get to decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it is
It's a black die to Gerry, you know.
Well, unfortunately can't do that in Act 2, so I'm safe.
So a white die for Chloe.
No,
wait,
you
is
keep
this for
it.
me.
No,
Oh, I
you
keep
keep
it.
it.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
a
have
white
to
die
keep
for
the
me.
die. Mhm.
So for me,
Okay.
I think because like, yeah, the reconciliation and stuff and career growth. We're showing growth here.
Yes.
Kitty.
Does that mean outdoor kitty scaring you?
No,
Poor baby.
the kitty only shows up in like the earlier and mid hours of the day.
I have my black Floyd over here,
Oh.
possibly just on
Napping.
the camera. Yeah, he is just out. He's just barely in the camera, I think, just right on the very edge. He's taking a
Just
snooze.
napping.
Oh, Meridine
Alright.
pet the cat, so I have to.
So I think that brings us around to your turn, Mango, to either establish or resolve.
I like the idea of resolving.
Okay.
Can I do another establish?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe things have gotten a little bit more upbeat. We're like a couple more days into the trip, and we've kind of taken an off the beat path because there's this beautiful scenic spot that doesn't really get a lot of travel. And Bob has a fishing permit for everywhere, but that's like not national park fishing permit. That's like state park fishing permits or whichever way. And so it technically actually ends up not applying here. And Bob has been clocked by the rangers a couple of times in other spots, but they never got to him. This time they come and they find him and we get the rangers and it's the same two. And they show up and they're like, you guys are causing trouble again. But Bob's out here like having this wonderful, like doing this fishing and stuff with like everyone just being like, this is how you do, I don't know, fly fishing or something.
Yeah.
And
Showing us how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think that like Bob is in his element here because you know he goes out fishing like every other weekend. Like this is the kind of thing where he's got like a little favorite pond that he goes to, you know, and he only catches things maybe like every 3 times, but he knows what he's doing. It's just there's not really a whole lot of fish in that little pond. They don't stock it or anything. But I think he mostly enjoys just the act of like sitting down peacefully and maybe just like making small talk with Gerry, getting to know him a little better, you know, that kind of thing. Like we've probably only really occasionally chatted at family gatherings. Like
Possibly.
it's probably not like a
Yeah.
like, I mean, I don't even sit down and talk to the uncles at the family gatherings I go to all that much. So you probably like how am I going to relate to this guy? But Bob, I think really enjoys just having a little peace and quiet and like, you know, sitting out there on a pier or something, or not a pier, sitting out on a rock that is probably slippery and too dangerous, and why the park rangers absolutely don't want people fishing there.
Yeah.
Like it's like oh yeah, like we kind of spotted it as we were walking around. You have to like kind of walk down
on a
on
cliff or something.
Yeah.
And it's kind of get into a cove.
carrying like a tackle box and like a couple rods, like very precariously, like not even thinking about how I'm going to get back up because I'm not even sure I can while carrying all this stuff. But it's a nice rock that we can sit on, you know, it's in the sun.
Yep.
But
Just sit there with your feet in the freezing cold water.
yeah.
And maybe there's like not even a whole lot of fish in this area. Like there's some, but like we really have to wait for them.
Yeah, exactly.
I was actually thinking that maybe it's the opposite and it's spawning season, and that's one of the reasons why you're not allowed to be fishing right now, because all the
Okay.
fish are currently moving
Yeah.
through to like the mating
Okay.
areas, and they don't want you decimating their population.
Yeah.
And so the rangers are like really mad that you've been like pulling
Yeah.
these fish out of the water, and they're like coming like really quick, and so it's like you're having this wonderful conversation, but every so often having to stop to like reel a fish in.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the kind of thing where like Bob knows that he can't start a fire here, and he doesn't have a cooler that he could get down here to bring the fish back up, so he's tossing it back out, you know. He's like, oh yeah, I caught it, all right, let it go, you know, shows you how to safely remove the hook from the mouth and all that and let him out. And he's like, yep, just catching him, you know, having a good time. And then the park rangers show up and they're like, sir,
We're gonna have to ask you to cease and desist.
And,
Please come up there off of that rock.
and that's how Bob got his license revoked in the state of Arkansas.
Oh, no.
Maybe that's also how Bob sprained his wrist, because he fell, because it was a slippery rock and that was stupid to get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. Poor Bob.
But in the end though, Bob actually enjoyed it, you know, like I sprained wrists. I sprain my wrist all the time, you know, the arthritis gets like that.
And I think on top of that, Gerry absolutely like stepped up and was like, oh, okay, so we weren't supposed to be fishing here and we probably weren't supposed to get down here, but I can help you get that stuff back up because I'll climb up first and you showed me how to tie ropes, so I'm gonna you know, just tie rope and haul. Like,
yeah. Yep. It's like we're just kind of like that, working together, like to get everything up and out of the whatever ditch that I've led us down into. But
Okay, so then you get to pick the resolve.
I think it's a white die for Bob, because I think that was just like, even though the park rangers told him that he's never allowed to fish in this state again, I think just like the fact that he got to do a thing that he wanted to do and got to have a little bit of bonding time with Gerry was like enough for him. But he's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not coming back to this state again. I've already seen the Grand Canyon. What else is there to check out, you know?
Fair.
oh,
Mm.
And he probably would fish somewhere illegally and just be like, oh, I thought my license was still good.
Right. Yeah.
As long as you don't run into those
I can
same
see
two
that.
rangers.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah. All right.
okay. I'd like to establish a scene. I'm gonna, what am I gonna pull on? You know what? I think I'm gonna pull on that relationship between Cybil and Gerry and that need to get away from nagging family. But also, I think I almost want to bring in Chloe as well. I'm not sure how. Maybe it's a case of, you know, asking for advice because I already admire, what Cybil was doing as far as like travel, writing. So I'd never considered doing poetry about it, but you seem to really know the business as far as like how to reach an audience. So maybe it's a scene of like, let's see, what are we doing? Maybe we are hiking and we're like, I want to say on the back of like mules or something, like going down into the big canyon proper, but like maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we're just taking a walk in the woods.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Yeah, like a guided tour or something. And
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
You've got the guides, on the one hand telling us all these cool stuff while probably simultaneously giving us the stink eye because word gets around very quickly between park rangers. They're trouble.
They know who we are before we showed up.
Yeah.
Keep
they
a
keep
close
a really
eye on
close
them.
eye on us. Yeah, exactly. Anytime we like set our mule a little bit off of the path, they're like, make sure you stay on the path.
Yeah. Gave us the most stubborn animals who don't want to go off the path, so that way we can't even really get that far away.
And maybe they're all like chained together, kind of, so that we can kind of
like roped in a line.
And I think like maybe we're talking about like being on this mule remind me of the farm that was in my town. They had like ponies and like all of these different animals that we rode. They had like an alpaca, which was weird, but it was cool. But even though that was fun, I'm so glad to be away from my family. I can only imagine what they'd say about if they saw a picture of me on this thing. They'd say like, "Oh, why don't you went all the way to the Grand Canyon to ride when Cheryl has one." That's a new one.
We got donkeys at home. The donkeys at home.
We got donkeys at home. Right? I'm glad I'm not there. I'm glad I'm out here traveling and writing and having a good time and seeing everybody.
But how'd you do it though? How'd you finally just get away from it all? Like,
you just have to take the first step and just I've been writing and I decided to apply for a position and got it and just worked my way up to the paper that I'm at now and to be able to travel for a living and write about it and get paid for it. It's great. Now, what I will say is I have been talking to Chloe and I think it's kind of cool that she's kind of freelance. I have a lot of rules and regulations and processes and approvals that I need to get through, and she just writes whatever she wants and posts it. So I've been talking to her too. I think that's pretty cool. That's what she does.
So Chloe, how does freelancing work? How's like when you first started out, was that scary? Was it just something you did? Like, what did you do to get there?
Well, I mean, I kind of been freelancing all the time. Like freelanced for my friends, for my friends' friends, for like just whoever through college. Freelancing has just always kind of been what I've done. And the thing that's different this time is that the freelancing is a little bit more for myself. A lot of the times when you freelance, you have to do what the other person wants. And in that respect, it's not all that different from being at a big magazine or a big newspaper or something with an editor telling you what they want. But when you freelance and you establish yourself as the way I've done with this blog, I instead cultivate like an audience and a specific group of people who have decided that they like what I do enough to support it financially and then, get sponsorships and stuff. And you have to decide what it is about you that you could do that with. I'm going to write poetry till the day I die. So that was a no-brainer for me.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So you kind of touched on it. For Chloe, is it kind of like I've got Patreon supporters, or is it like I'm sponsored by Squarespace and
A little bit of both.
HelloFresh? Yeah.
A little bit of both. She talks a little bit about how like when you initially get going, it's much more about like the individuals providing donation and providing like regular support. Even like $1 per person can add up once you start getting a good loyal following. And once you start getting enough people, you can open up the opportunity for sponsorships. And it's at that point kind of important to make sure that you're working with sponsors that help to enhance what you're doing rather than taking away from it. So like Chloe partners with a few different things, like some different like she partners with Soylent because they make a powder that you can take with you when you go traveling. She partners with like these different kinds of things that are still like pulled into what her like travel blog's about, and so she's got like sponsorships that make sense.
Yeah, like, you got Audible, so people can listen to books about poetry all on the go or something.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, oh yeah, whenever I'm out traveling on the road, I like to put on my favorite podcasts, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, and she's got like a reading list for like her Patreons to be able to gain access to or whatever. Stuff like that. And so she kind of just explains out how that all sort of works and how that's just always what she's done.
That's some pretty good stuff right there. I wonder if I even could.
Anyone can.
You totally could. I'm going to start transitioning that way myself, actually.
Okay. So if there's one thing, and this is for you, Cybil, if there's one thing in this park that you want to do before we go, what is it? Because I think we've hit everything your editor wanted.
Yeah, we did. I don't know. Is there anything that anybody wants to do here or around here? Or is there anywhere anyone, I don't know.
Cybil, what do you like most about traveling?
I love the freedom. I love to see new places. So after I'm done with one location, I'm always ready for the next.
All right.
I love the fact there's always a next.
I have an idea. And like we finished the like mule travel, and she goes to like the, they've always got that real big board that's got all those pamphlets in it, and she rifles through the pamphlets and she finds the one she's looking for. She comes back and she holds it out to you, and it is a paragliding to get from one side of the canyon to the other.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
I definitely was not just Googling what is there to do at the Grand Canyon and then saw like air tours and whatnot.
Clearly,
so,
I have no idea if that's a real thing.
They do air tours, so that's basically like the same thing. I think we can stretch it.
You said that because I was like, I wonder if there's a zip line from one side to another. But I like paragliding.
Paragliding's very cool.
But it's like a whole big thing. Like they take all of your gear and your vehicle and stuff, and they like haul it to the other location because it's like a distance.
Yeah. I think Cybil is like super excited. Like, yes, we all need to do this, and you know what? I'm going to pay for it on my jobs tab. Like, let's all go. Let's do it.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. It's a work expense. Yeah.
It's a work expense.
I think with that decided, that's probably that scene.
Yeah.
I think that's a high note for that scene. So, but it's up to you guys as far as what color dice to give me. So if you give me a black dice, I can figure out how this goes badly for Gerry.
I don't know. I feel like it was a white. It's a lot of positive, supportive.
How much do we have left out of curiosity?
We have 5 left after this one.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I think definitely white dice.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to have to start zooming through these last couple of scenes because
we need to get to the end.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. That said, it is back to Evie, and it's on you to resolve or establish.
I feel like what I'm going to establish is going to decide that it has to be a certain resolve, but I'm going to establish that. So I think that's probably the end. Like we're now doing the like lazy, like slowly making our way out of the Grand Canyon. Like we've hit the high points and we're still in the Grand Canyon, but we're making our way out. And Cybil gets an email from her editor, and they've rejected like the $2,000 that was paid to do the paragliding.
They're like, we see this charge on your card.
Oh my
$2,000. We
And
didn't
so, like,
ask you to do a review on paragliding.
Oh my gosh.
you thought that was taken care of. I'm tapping into this failure point of you thought it was taken care of, but it is not taken care of.
I had to fight my boss to get the $35 of gas I had to spend to get to training for a week. Like,
Oh my goodness.
$2,000.
They declined our activities.
Oh,
What? It was so fun. I mean, I wrote this like 500-word like reasoning of why it had to be done, why I did it, and they rejected it. I mean, I said, it's a big thing of the Grand Canyon to just go over it, and you have to do it with other people. I said, well, I just happened to be on a trip with other people, and so I just I gotta figure this out. I can't pay for this.
So what I'm hearing is we got to fundraise. We got to find a way to raise funds.
Yeah, I mean, we do. I mean, I don't know. We got to maybe there's entryway. We can maybe talk to some people that are trying to come in.
Maybe we could do like one of those like virus videos. Like the videos, like the dances that everybody likes to share.
Yeah, we can definitely.
He's very much referring to a viral video, but he doesn't know what it's supposed to be called.
Virus video.
The virus video.
Yeah, we can do.
Yeah,
we can do.
YouTubers make all sorts of money.
Yeah, that could work. We can find some people who might want to be in it, and yeah, I think we can do this. We can do this, and then I think Cybil, is starting to look on her phone of the entrance and if there's a good place to shoot the video, and just trying to figure out how to get people and get some help. And maybe there's kind of a gift shop welcome center at the front that we get to, and there's a large parking lot. Because a lot of people just like to take pictures by a sign, and maybe we do it there, a come to the Grand Canyon dance.
Those same two park rangers absolutely do not like us soliciting donations
Exactly.
on the canyon grounds. Like we're over there trying to raise money for this paragliding trip, and we can do as much of a sob story as we want, but they're gonna be like, look, you paid for the paraglide, it's on your credit card. You can't ask for donations at the Grand Canyon. I don't know what more I need to tell you about this.
But they're going to try to call the credit card company, trust me, you want us to fundraise. And Cybil's just saying trust me, you want this to happen. Help us out, please.
I think at this, while this is being discussed, I think Gerry goes to Bob and it's like, Uncle Bob, so I did find the poster. It rolled under the seats, but what if we
put it on eBay to make money?
Yeah.
The Uncle Danny would be fine with that. Oh. It's for a good cause. I had a great time paragliding with everyone. We can put it up on eBay.
Okay.
No, we need to have that Danny DeVito poster go paragliding.
Oh, can I take a picture with Danny DeVito paragliding? That's how you make
and
a
then
virus
we sell
video.
Nice.
Viral video, and we sell it.
Yes.
Okay, so it's already been paid for though, right? Technically.
Well, okay, we're not
technically.
going to actually take it fully paragliding. This is entirely a stunt thing.
Yeah.
But we're going to build like a small little paraglider that's sized for the poster.
Like maybe they have something in like the gift shop that's kind of like the same, like maybe a flag that's the same color.
Like a
and we
flag.
Can,
Like a
we
kite.
can- a kite, yeah.
A paragliding kite.
Oh,
Kind of makeshift
so
there.
we staged this photo shoot of Danny DeVito.
And like
I-
because like Chloe like does like from like blogs and stuff, and like she has like really good like Photoshop, and maybe like Cybil does too, because so like, we're editing the photo and everything to make it look super legit.
Yes.
I'm looking now
video.
to see how much Danny DeVito signed objects go for on eBay, and it looks like it's in the range of $100 to $400. So,
But this
we're
one
gonna
has been
fiction.
paragliding across
True.
the Grand Canyon in a viral video.
yeah,
True,
this is the
true,
one from
true.
the Danny DeVito goes
True.
paragliding video,
Exactly.
except no substitutes.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And do we find anyone to give us any money?
I mean,
Like maybe someone sees us, like
I-
do we get the money beforehand?
I feel like this is the point where you don't get the money, like we don't get the money, but this is your entryway into freelancing for yourself because
Nice, yeah,
you
possibly.
establish an audience. Like
True.
yeah.
you don't make any real money off of this video, but like, hey, wow, wait, 10,000 people saw this? Wait,
Yeah.
20,000 people? Why are we getting so many views? And it's because the
Right.
official Danny DeVito Twitter retweeted that video.
Oh my god, because you guys are pseudo related.
Yeah.
right.
I sent him a
And I
message
tagged
on
all of you in the
yeah.
in the tweet, and then Danny is of course following you all.
It's like, oh hey, Robbie, how you doing? Like,
Oh my goodness.
Oh, so good.
so
This is so ridiculous. I love it. So,
So-
I'd say that's a white outcome, even though it wasn't the exact outcome.
yeah, it's like, oh yeah,
Whose
you know, we
scene
didn't,
was this?
I think it's the one you established, Evie.
Oh yeah, I established this scene. Okay. So it's my white die.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Been very good.
But at the same time, considering how much time we have left is not a whole lot, we can absolutely say that that was worth more than one person's,
yeah,
dice.
considering how it kind of bounced around, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say that's also a white dice for Cybil. If you're okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think, Mango? Is that a
I think it's a black die in the sense that we lost the Danny DeVito poster,
okay.
which was like, it was kind of important,
Mm.
but he doesn't mind, like it's like, okay, we lost something valuable along the way. Like I did feel really good about that, but it's okay. It's okay to lose sometimes. Even if we didn't get the money right away, I think Bob is just happy to see that like things are working out for everybody. So I'm okay with taking a black die on that for the loss of that valuable.
Counter proposal. White die for Bob, black die for Gerry. Because Bob's like, this was a great, outcome. Gerry, on the other hand, is still kind of eaten up over she didn't think she'd care about the stupid poster, but like now. Now
Once
that
it
he's-
became like a token of our relationship, now you're feeling like oh man, I'm giving this up. Like
Yes.
it started out as just some like poster that you don't even really want, but now it's like, oh, but this is our thing. This is our poster of our uncle.
Wait. So we ended up putting it on eBay, and
Mhm.
like it didn't go for like the full amount of the money, but we got a little bit of money out of it. But was it Gerry who ended up buying it at the end?
You know what? It was.
Yes.
So now you're out
Yes.
like a giant chunk of money so that you can
Yeah.
hold on to this thing that you didn't like to start with.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm sitting here like, why did I do
Love
this?
that.
Why?
Love
We
that.
still got no closer to paragliding.
And the worst part is that you paid more than you should have because
Yes.
you kept counterbidding with somebody else whose name was like Robert DeVito 337.
It was fun. But then all the money came to me because I was the one that posted it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay. So that was. It was. Hang on. We have 0 white die left. And we have. Hang on a second. What in the world? So we
we have
either have
more
1
scenes
black
we need
die
to do?
left or we have 0 dice left. And I don't know where we're at.
So do we need to establish one more scene?
I think we do.
Okay. Whose turn is it?
I think technically we've all gone through and had a turn, a second turn. So we should be at 0 dice, but I don't know how we lost a dice. So let's establish a group scene technically we're going into the aftermath. So, and I only want to do this because we're running out of time here, trying to keep from going too far over.
How do we, okay, so we're going to do the aftermath. How do we do the aftermath?
Okay, so the way the aftermath works, I'm kind of fusing the aftermath and this final dice scene, I think, because that is 2, 4, 6, 10, 16, 18.
Getting word from the booth that it is okay if we go a little bit over.
Okay. Then we will finish up this scene and then we will divvy up our dice after that. But let's call it a group scene because I don't know whose turn it is anymore. So I suppose we'll establish and then however we end up is whoever gets the dice. But remember, it is a black dice. Whoever gets it, it's a black dice.
So, I mean, we're leaving the Grand Canyon. We're on our way home, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, let's see.
Did Bob and Chloe ever have their like, you're no longer my muse? Like that's what I was kind of thinking since it's black die, like they're kind of.
Yeah, I think that like somewhere along the road, maybe on the way back, we're driving by and we're taking the same road to get away as we're on our way there.
Yes.
And I just see like on a bench or something where we pulled over, I just see a like mug.
No one else wanted it.
yeah. It's like there's people of trash that the trash collectors picked up that they didn't even touch them. I was like, whatever. Yep. And Bob's just like, hey, wait, that's my mug.
What?
Hey, just wait, Gerry, can you pull over for a second?
Yeah, okay.
Bob's like, I won this. This is mine. How did it end up over here?
You said you hated it.
Oh, I didn't hate the mug. I just hated posing with it all the time. You know, I like having fun. I don't want to just be on Facebook or whatever. Like I'm just going on a trip. I'm taking these pictures to make memories, not because I want to, get on the interwebs.
Chloe, was this mug? It's almost like it's like a. Is that a sponsor thing? Are we sure that you want it?
They were not sponsoring us. No.
Hey,
I've definitely watched him eat the entire garbage pail by himself.
Yeah.
It was not sponsored.
It was
the
horrible.
psychic damage experience.
Yeah.
Was
like imagine being in a car with somebody who had just eaten that
Yes.
for hours at a time. Like the like greasy, like ugh.
And imagine you're the driver. You can't even just be like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna like roll down the window, stick my head out it.
Yeah.
Sounds
like,
like
no,
a
you-
bad time.
Bob's like reading the instructions to you on the map, like reading them out to you, and just the breath of like
Oh, God.
deep fried whatever.
Ugh.
Deep fried questions.
Yeah.
You like brushed your teeth that night and the next morning, and it still smells this
Yeah.
way.
You still get a
Yes.
little bit of fried jalapeno or something in there. But
So many questions.
But yeah, like I think Bob just kind of like says like, yeah, Chloe, look, like it's cool that you do this writing thing, and I totally think that what you and Cybil do is really neat, but like it's just not my thing, and I don't really want any part of it, honestly. I'm just kind of here to go on a nice road trip with my family.
That's fair. It turns out you weren't a very good muse anyway, so
I think I was just fine as a muse. I mean, obviously you drew inspiration from me. Like now Bob gets a little bit defensive about that
Yes.
because like it's like the quality of his like road tripping skills are being brought into question here. It's like, look, I had more fun than anybody. I think I think I did this right.
that's not the job of a muse. And if you look at my metrics, the times in which the poem was heavily reliant upon my muse for inspiration in order to write it, they did worse. So
Look, I'm an American. I don't use metrics. Okay.
Sybil's like overhearing this and like thinking like, you know, Bob, maybe we can work together because like I think you're right. You are American. I think that's what we need. My column needs like that good old American, like I've done this as a kid, I want to go do this
Yeah.
as an adult, like so if you're no longer working with Chloe.
New series on Adult Swim, American Uncle.
What is happening here?
I think what's happening here is Bob is calling off the whole muse relationship thing with Chloe, and that's all done for. That's
and then he's
look,
getting roped into it potentially with Cybil, which
Yes.
it might not be good.
which is probably like arguably significantly worse for him because it's like Cybil has already demonstrated a real cutthroat approach to the blogging industry.
Yes. This is beautiful. Oh my goodness.
I mean, you know, you have like that corporate backing. We can go to whatever little cavern or river pond you went to as you were younger, and we can recreate the whole thing.
Yeah, Bob's got like a union job that he's been at for like 30 years. It's like, yeah, I can take a vacation basically whenever I want, you know.
But you're basically signing up to go on a nostalgia trip to ruin your childhood.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the worst part is Bob is like completely oblivious to how horrible things are relatively. He's like, yep, this is the American dream. Going to the same vacation spots every 5 years. Yeah.
I think I'll
Definitely a
call
black
it
die.
like
Yeah, it's a black die for sure.
the American trip down memory lane. Or something like that.
So
Yeah,
black
yeah.
die
We'll
for
workshop it.
Bob?
We'll workshop it.
Not black die for Bob for sure. This is the worst possible scenario for him.
Oh, shoot. Okay, so with that, we officially roll into the aftermath, in which
All right.
we again roll all of the dice in front of our characters and tally up. And from there, we will consult the aftermath tables. Let's see. How do we get this thing to stop rolling?
So is the number in our sheet here the number that we have
Number in the sheet.
on the roll 20?
Oh, so on the roll 20, the sheets are.
No, the
if
number of
you're-
dice.
Yeah.
That we're supposed to roll.
Oh, yes. So in the boxes that say black die and white die there, those numbers are as accurate as I can tell because I'm bad at math. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
So you'll add each of those groups together as you did in the tilt, and then we'll consult the aftermath table. I have 3 black die.
Oh, wow.
And I have 2 white die. Stupid thing. Ah. No! Yeah, okay.
That's a 0 for you.
That's a 0 for me, which in this game, rolling low, low, if it cancels out, that's terrible. That's
Yeah. You had as much bad going for you as good, and do not end up with much.
In Fiasco, you want either to have the worst possible or the best possible, because eventually on the blacklist, if you get a high enough score, you do eventually, come out smelling like roses. Somehow it all goes worse and worse and worse, but you still come out on top.
Yeah. It's a kind of like incentivize bad things happening to you in a way.
Yes. So the aftermath, the way it works is once you've divvied up your stuff, you total your amounts, and then you consult the table. The table tells you how bad it goes for you, and then you have a montage, with each of the die that you had having a "this is" statement attached to it, which would usually be, this is, Gerry on her way to college, realizing that everything she thought she wanted to do was a lie, something like that, which honestly works out pretty well for me. If you don't mind, I'll go first since
All right.
we're here. I got a 0. So on the aftermath table of either side, that is the worst possible, the absolute worst. Death would have been preferable in a typical, in a typical Fiasco game. There's at least 6 different, things that have happened that could have possibly involved somebody dying. Nobody died in this, outing, but
Yeah.
Let's see. So this is Gerry getting home and trying to explain to her parents that, no, Mom, no, Dad, I want to be a journalist. I want to do a journalism degree so that way I can get into travel writing eventually. This did not go well. This did not go well at all. In fact, they were so vehemently against it, they refused to help fund college. Worked out not terribly. She'd already had some scholarship opportunities that had come in. Unfortunately, they were attached to STEM, so not journalism. This is Gerry 10 years later, looking back on the last 10 years going, I wasted so much of my life. That trip was not a terrible trip, all things considered, but I really should have made some better choices. I'm broke. I'm terribly broke. I'm alone. My parents don't want to speak to me. They think I sold off the family DeVito poster, but what they don't know is that I still have it. Joke's on them, folks. I still have the Danny DeVito poster. Who's laughing now?
You're like going to bed at night. You're like, what am I doing with my life? You just look over at the wall. And he's just hung up on the wall, staring back at you as the penguin.
Yes. And I think I'll pass it off to Sprinkle.
So I got 3 white die. So outcome grim, the stress and trauma from the misadventure will haunt you forever. All your plans have ended in complete ruin. And I think Cybil had the idea to potentially start to venture out into doing her own blog and and also had the idea to rope in Bob and particularly for her like New York Times column, and that ended up not going well. It was very like maybe years ago it would have been a good thing, but because of the way the internet and everything's moving, that type of content just was not selling. And I think Cybil like lost her job from that one idea. She lost her job, and but because she was so focused at first on trying to make that work, she didn't really go into like the YouTube and Twitter like success that she had, and with algorithms and stuff, she just fell by the wayside. No one really cared about the things that she was doing anymore. And she so she's was pretty stressed and had to figure out other writing options. Like she went from writing travel blogs to just writing like when students go to study abroad, there's like she goes to like writes the information on the study abroad websites. Like she doesn't even like get to really travel at all anymore, and she's just writing it from her small town.
Yeah, we're right back at square one.
Right back at square one.
I kind of have an idea in mind for Bob.
Okay.
So I got a 3, which is also a grim. Stress and trauma from the misadventure will haunt you forever. I imagine that Bob returns home. He's like just excited to kind of get back into working. And then he finds out that there is actually a warrant out for him because he has gotten into a lot of trouble with the park rangers. And after much deliberation, they realized, oh, actually the compounding of all these fines, he might have to go to jail for a few years, like 2 years or something like that, and he's got to pay a pretty hefty fine or something for like poaching, wildfire endangerment type stuff. So Bob gets back home, finds out there's a warrant for his arrest, and now he's going to have to lose his job because he's not going to be working there for 2 years, and they can't afford to not have a general manager at the pickling factory without Bob there. So they had to hire somebody else. So Bob's going to just have to kind of stay at a local prison for a little bit, doing his hard time for 2 years.
Poor Bob.
Poor Bob. But yeah, this is Bob trying to make friends with his cellmate, explain to him the finer points of fishing.
Poor Bob.
Poor Bob.
So I feel really bad following all those because I got a 10.
Oh.
Which color?
My white dice rolled like shit, and then my black dice actually rolled decent. And so I got a black 10, which says pretty good, all things considered. You're coming out of this smelling like a rose. You're a little better off. Maybe you got the girl, or you just didn't get caught. And I kind of really love what you decided to do with Cybil, because I think what happened to Chloe is that because Cybil was taking inspiration and name dropped her maybe once or twice around the office, somebody looked at her blog at the New York Times and they reached out to her and they hired her on to be an alternative poem person in like their more arts and like creative section, but she still gets to do it about like traveling and stuff. She just does it now for a big corporation, and so kind of sold her soul a little bit to continue doing this job this Cybil was trying to kind of make happen for herself.
There was a job opening at the New York Times that was exactly your forte, travel blog writer needed. You're like, oh, actually,
yeah,
sounds pretty good. I could do that.
Yeah, I shouldn't have talked about the trip when I went back to the office. I mean, they asked me about the $2,000, and then they asked me about everything else, and should have.
Chloe's like, wait, where's Cybil?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the first day in the office is just a whole lot of hubbub, so I don't like really get the chance to figure it out. But like by day 3 or 4, I'm like, no, but seriously, you guys, I have a friend
Yeah.
here. Where do I find like this person? They're like, no, she was fired like 5 months ago. And I'm
Yeah,
like, what?
Yeah, like that was the job opening you took. Like your role is very specifically like the exact role that the
We eliminated her role and restructured, and
yeah.
Yeah, it was restructured because I'm like slightly under a different editor in a kind of different department, but they didn't they
Yeah.
didn't want it the way it was
Right.
before anyway after they let
Yeah.
Cybil go. So
So like this isn't really hitting our target audience the way we thought
Yeah.
it would. We're just gonna yeah. But we still want that same brand of content.
Yep.
I love how this fiasco went from wholesome to not in no time flat.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this went pretty well. We have high hopes for the future. Everything's looking up. New ventures, new lease on life, a newfound, respect for family, and then
nope.
Jail time.
jail.
Jail.
No. Back home with your parents.
Yeah.
Which is worse, like
I
years
got
of
away
jail.
from the family, but not the way I wanted.
yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I put the twist on like Chloe's still doing what she wants to do, but she's kind of doing it in a way that she wouldn't normally have been doing it because she's
Yeah.
sold out a little bit.
Yep.
I just like that when someone asks Bob, so what are you in here for? He's like, I went fishing.
Everybody is actually really worried about Bob. They think that he might have been misplaced and he's supposed to be in the mental ward because who gets,
Yeah.
who gets
Yeah, it's
arrested
like-
for fishing?
Yeah. It's like, oh, I tried doing a campfire, tried to go fishing.
And they think that's a euphemism for like arson
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like possibly murder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like sleeping with
There's,
the
like-
fishes? Like
Right.
sleeping with the fishes?
Learn
Or, yeah,
about
like yeah, did you give a
Digging
guy concrete
fishes out?
shoes? Yeah.
Are you like a weird grave robber?
Did you give a guy concrete shoes? Nah, just give a guy regular shoes.
Yeah.
If you need shoes, I can get you shoes.
I mean, I threw the fishes back. I don't understand why they were so upset.
Threw them back? What does that mean?
It's like a bizarre lingo that ends up
Yeah.
like surfacing amongst a variety of criminal factions
Yeah.
around fishing and camping. Nobody
So-
understands where it
No.
came from.
But then everyone's
Yeah,
like
so-
in the prison's like really afraid of Bob.
Yeah, exactly. Like Bob's got like a lot of social standing in there. They're like, oh, that's Bob. Dude, he did some messed up shit. He went
Yeah.
fishing, and he threw him back. What does that mean? You don't know what fishing is? How hard are you?
Right.
Nobody knows what fishing is, but no one will
Yeah.
admit it.
Yeah. No one wants to be the one who says like, wait, throwing him back?
Right.
But yeah, thank you so much. This was such a great game. I want to play now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I was thinking, gotta
It
pick
was
this
fun.
one up.
but yeah, everybody, thank you so much for playing. Thank you so much for watching and donating to JDRF International. We're gonna go around. Everyone's gonna say hey, hi, who they are, where they can find them, and then we're gonna go raids. So let's start with the facilitator, Forta.
Hi, I'm Forta. You can find me on Twitter at FortaVer with no dash in between. Most of the other places I'm on the internet, there is a dash in between. If I'm not, there moping about various things, you can find me over on Polished Cryptids channel playing, tomorrow morning very early, or Tuesday mornings very early.
All right. I'll go next. Hi, I'm Mango. You can find me at SolarSoothsayer on Twitter. I also have a Tumblr, Starlight Mango, but I don't think many people use that very much these days. I draw things a lot of like RPG characters, pretty girls with swords, that kind of thing. And I also love my wife very much. You can find them at Marefeather. It was their birthday last week, so everybody just say happy birthday to Mare. Yeah, that's basically what I'm all up to on this end. So
I'll go next. I'm Evie Story. You can find me at Evie Story on most of the places that I'm at, except Instagram, where I'm Evie Story Kitties, because Instagram's just for my cat pictures. Who we got the chance to see one of tonight. I'm not really on the internet right now a whole lot. I'm on a little bit of a hiatus of sorts as I sort of settle some things for myself. So I'm mostly doing like some science teaching of kids and like figuring out a little bit of what I want to do for myself in terms of a lot of the way Chloe is actually trying to establish like what kind of content that I might want to start creating and stuff. So I'm just taking some time for that. But when I eventually come back, those are the places you can find me.
Sprinkle or Crystal, Sprinkle Theory, Sprinkle_Theory here on Twitch. I like speedrun games over there. Usually Stardew. And also play like some very chill games, very Stardew-like games, like unpacking and stuff.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You speedrun Stardew?
Yes.
That's a how?
Oxymoron,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too. I was like, oh, that's an interesting one to like pick for a speed running. But
yeah, so one of the categories, so I was on Games Done Quick or GDQ a couple of weeks ago, and I did marriage run. So you married someone quickly. I married Shane as the quickest candidate. My times are around hour and a half, but world record is 42 minutes, 43 minutes.
Dang.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And so yeah, so I do that, and on Twitter, Sprinkle Theory. And yeah, mostly on those two things. But yeah, this was a great time. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, and happy birthday, Mary.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Once again, thank you so much, everybody. This was super, super great. As a reminder, we have a couple more streams left. We have 2 more that are on the schedule, and we have one that is in the process of being rescheduled. The next game is the Athenwald Heist, run by Terrell Plays. Oh God,
it all.
Terrell plays it all, and then at Gona_Hawking, they're co-DMing a D&D 5e game where they're gonna heist on a train and stuff like that. And that's gonna be at 12 p.m. Eastern on the 26th. And if I can entice you in some shenanigans, one of the donation incentives is choose a player, and they now have a hand grenade. So that's going to be super, super amazing shenanigans. And that's really all that I got. So join us on Saturday. In the meantime, we're going to go raid Rule of Lore, who is playing their Cypher System game. So everyone go say hi, give them some love and chat, and we'll see you soon. Bye.